Here we are.
Yes.
Karan, Dalu, so great. It's amazing how things happen, right?
Yeah.
We are all over the world. I'm in Spain. Karan, you are in India, sure.
Yeah.
And Dalu, where are you today?
I'm in Germany.
Oh, cool. This is in Germany. Where in Germany?
I'm in the north in Hamburg.
In Hamburg. So here we are. I mean, we are
Germany.
all over, um, but we are definitely united
I'm in the north in
by
Hamburg.
by happiness, and we are united by the will of being of service to people, and that's why today what we have created, I think, is something very special. It's basically as everybody start joining, welcome everybody to the World Happiness Fest. This is the seventh edition, but this is a very special one because we are celebrating the 10th anniversary of International Day of Happiness. And this is a big deal because for people like us that have decided to focus on happiness and well-being as an strategic asset in order to change perspective and to help people to move from suffering and trauma into growth and flourishing, this is a big deal because now we know that we have um, every country in the world signing two resolutions, one that celebrates the International Day of Happiness and the other one that invites every country, every institution to create new paradigms for human progress based on happiness and well-being. So I think this is a big deal for all of us. We have to be super proud, and we have to be, I would say, accountable in many ways because what's going on today in the world is it's not looking that good. Although it depends the lenses that you are using, and this is part of what today is going to be. So basically, I just want to welcome and say thank you, Karan and Talu, because you're going to be creating an amazing agenda for today. And just so everybody knows, today is the first day of the World Happiness Fest. It's a 6 days event, and today we are focusing on happiness at work. So we are going to have 4 hours, around 4 hours of incredible content, and Karan, Talu, and the whole team have put together. And I just wanted to say thank you. Right now we are running simultaneously an Spanish stage and a Portuguese stage, and this is the English stage. So somehow we are giving the option to everybody to understand happiness. We are giving this for free to everybody. This is on social media. We believe that happiness is definitely free, but it's not easy for some people because we have to work hard sometimes to get it. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining, Karan.
Thank you so much, Luis, for it's your effort. For so many years, you've been putting in this, in this space. You brought everyone together. Everyone is inspired by you, and I think that today what you're doing is, the 2022 is a special year actually. After 2 years of, you know, going through all the pain and the difficulties and uncertainties, 2022 is something when this actually people are now looking forward to an event like this where they can come and learn some tools which they really need now. Maybe 2019, yeah, it's good to have, but now I really need it. That's what people are saying. So I congratulate you for doing this, and it's our small and sincere effort of assisting you in the whole journey. And as you said, we feel accountable for what's happening in the world, no matter which country we are from, what we background we come from, what experience we carry, but somehow we all are accountable for this. And it becomes our own personal responsibility, not just the government responsibility, to make sure that how can we spread this awareness about the well-being and happiness and all these tools that are available to the world now. So thank you so much. So yeah, we are ready with this now. Yeah.
So yes, so with this, basically, just everybody knows. Now we are going to be focusing on a whole agenda about understanding why happiness is so important at work, with very practical tools, and we are going to be exploring this from different angles. Then tomorrow we are going to move into health and mental health, especially with a lot of focus on the relationship between health and happiness. And then the third day we move into education. Then we move into self and planet, technology, and public policy. So we finish with call to action to people with responsibility at different levels to create policies and processes, learning from all these processes. So with that, from a personal point of view, just so you know, for me, happiness is not just a choice; is it has to be embodied, and this is basically my key message. Is some people think that it's just about choosing happiness. No, actually, when you choose, you really have to embody. That's why I call, instead of being happy, is being happiness. And this is very important because some people think that happiness there's a shortcut, and once I'm happy, that's it. The power of happiness is to share it, and when you share it is when you really create the ripple effect that we have. So my recommendation is about sharing and embodiment. What do you think, Karan?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think the most important thing is that when we talk about workplace happiness, one of the things that still people talk about, yes, okay, we are already doing so many things, and why to care about happiness, my employees' happiness? It's their personal responsibility. If they're not happy, they're not performing, I can fire them. I can bring more people who are happier. And this is something which has been still going on even after this pandemic and everything. People are still not aligned to this idea that why this happiness is very important, that it's not just your employee's responsibility, but as a leader of the organization, it's your responsibility as well. So I think our intention would be to give them that answer, why you need to care about, because it's good for your business. And we will not be talking in that sense of numbers, because everybody knows numbers. Yes, you can Google numbers. Gallup is talking about it. Great Place to Work is talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. We're not going to talk numbers. We're going to talk something which is more compelling. So that would be the intention of this this conversation we will have. So thank you, Luis. So we will continue this now. We'll take we are the torch bearer from here now, uh, as, as a Happy Good Global team and Head Heart Fest team. So we will be continuing this journey. So
Thank you.
we
Thank you so
thank
much
you.
for your leadership, and thank you so much for everything that you do. So enjoy, everybody, and take care.
Yeah, thank you.
See you.
Yeah,
Hey. Okay, Karan. So, of course, we've said that we're going to talk about happiness at work, workplace happiness. But of course, when we think about happiness, and it's more about how we bring ourselves everywhere, not only at workplaces, right? So, the one thing that I think we wanted to talk about is this hot topic, right? It's so needed at times like now, and of course, during the pandemic. I mean, as you said, before 2019 wasn't the time when we were looking for these tools. And yet now it's so needed, right? Ever more so. So we're going to talk about what is compassion. So we're going to go with a few questions I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to have the pleasure of you sharing and enlightening everyone.
yeah.
So tell us, Karan,
Okay.
what is
So
compassion?
yeah, thank you, Talu. Thank you so much. It's always lovely, chatting with you. But I
Yes.
think let's start with the with happiness, because now happiness at work, and then we will connect it to compassion. I'll
Okay.
answer you that. Is that okay with you? Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. I was
Go
saying that
free
why
flow.
to care about happiness. Now the
Yeah.
thing is, as an organization, where your people, when they are happy, somehow they they tend to work more, because as when we are very happy as human being, this is very obvious to us. we expand ourselves. You remember we do the
Yeah, you
small thing like,
open.
expand
Yeah,
your arms, look up,
yeah, yeah,
and you feel happy, right?
yeah.
So when you're happy, you expand everything, you
Mm,
expand the kind of things you're doing, the number of people you're interacting with. On the days when you're happy, you don't mind smiling at strangers or even chatting with the strangers. But when you are not happy, you're unhappy, you don't want to talk to even the people who are very close to you. You
yeah,
just want to go into your shell.
yeah,
Now, if we are looking at on one side in the organization, we are talking about team building, we are talking about, the leadership, we are talking about,
mm,
productivity. How can that happen when your people are not joyful,
yeah,
by their own nature?
yeah,
When they're not joyful, what they are creating for the world is they are creating more and more unhappiness for their teams. And when these people who are working as part of their team go back to their families, this is what they spread, because this is what they're
yeah,
receiving, this is what they're
yeah,
filled with. They're spending 8 hours in a day, and this is what
yeah,
they're spreading. So when we are talking about happiness at work, actually this is a very wrong concept. Is not only at work. Happiness, when you bring happiness at work, you're actually bringing happiness in the world,
yeah.
because this is
That
how it's
energy. Yeah.
spreading, that energy, this is how it's
Mm,
spreading. And now, important topic which you touched upon, compassion. That why compassion? you know when you look at compassion, you look at something like, somebody who is who's sad, and we understand their pain and everything. We can't just, if we see somebody in pain, we just can't laugh and smile and dance on
mm,
that. But on the other side, when you're talking about happiness, people usually look at happiness as, as something where you're just laughing and smiling and dancing. Those kind of
right.
things come to your mind when you are thinking about happiness. Now, how these two are connected then? Why compassion is part of happiness as such? So this means that when we all are talking about happiness, and at the same time we are talking of compassion as a part of
Mm,
happiness,
mm,
this is very important for us to understand that happiness is not just about, going to the office and just, having a party and having a fun activity. This is not just about that. This is also about understanding and feeling what other people are going through,
yeah.
being sensitive to what their emotional needs are, how they are feeling as human beings, what's going on in their life. Now, if you
Mm,
look at the word compassion, if you the word itself mean, it's encompassing passion for all.
mm,
When it's only about me, it's passion. Okay,
yeah.
when what is passion? Passion is when I don't keep a track of time. Even my hunger and my tiredness or anything, even I'm exhausted, I just keep giving my best because I'm passionate about this thing, right? This is
Yeah.
why everyone is talking about passion. When it's about me, it's passion. When it's about all, this is compassion.
Right.
So this is what I feel, is it's very important as business leader, as an organization, to bring at your workplace.
Yeah. And when you talk about it like that, it makes me think of, okay, well, in this case, when we see passion, is that the same as being self-compassionate or self-compassion?
Yeah. So compassion is always self compassion only.
Mm,
Now the problem is, when you talk about self, you look at only this one as self.
mm,
Okay, self means only me. No, that's where the problem with the definition is. The self and compassion as a word is not the right word. Self means when you have expanded yourself.
yeah.
When I say expand yourself, it means, let's not look at as a manager or as a leader. Let's look at as a parent. Your own child. If you see your own child in pain, in difficulty, don't wait for that child to come to you and
So,
ask for you that, okay, I
yeah.
need help. Do everything possible. That becomes your top priority in your head.
Mm,
you know then you have included your child as a part of yourself. It's not like you even looking for a thank you from your child
yeah.
after doing all this. You're not even expecting that,
Yeah.
right? You're doing it because as a human being, as a parent, you feel this is what I need to do in this moment, and you do that. So that's your family. Your child is part of yourself. Now, as a business leader, as a manager, or someone who's handling a team, when you start looking yourself, expanding yourself with all the people who work for you,
Mm,
as a part of your teammates, then you become compassionate and you become
Just like a parent.
self-compassionate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you become
Yeah.
self-compassionate. Now the self includes all of them.
Yeah.
Their dreams are your dreams, their aspirations are your aspirations, their pains are your pains. Yes.
Yeah,
Now if you
absolutely.
expand it little more, now you're not expanding the compassion, because compassion itself has no boundaries.
Mm,
But if you
that's lovely.
expanding the self,
Yeah.
if you're expanding the self from the family to the employees to every person who is using your services, and then maybe as a humanity, you know then you are becoming more and more
Mm.
self compassionate. Now if you're just thinking about yourself, you're just looking at your own pain and everything, this is not self compassion, this is obsession about yourself. Obsession
Yeah.
about self, this is not compassion.
Yeah.
There's a very interesting thing which normally they say in India, in when you go to somebody who is who's studying yogic science and all of that, they
Mhm.
say the difference between a spiritual person and a materialistic person is very simple. Materialistic person is very kind and compassionate to the self, and very 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 rude and like difficult with the world, very hard with the world. Now the thing is, if I am a spiritual person, it will just reverse. I'll be little tough on myself, but very compassionate with the world. Now, a lot of people, this idea does not resonate. They say, "Oh, but
Yeah.
self-compassion, you need to be compassionate about self." No, the compassionate does not mean that you have to just pamper yourself all the time. Now, you are overweight after the lockdown. A lot of people are, including me. You're overweight. Morning, you want to go exercise. Your pampering is your. This is not self-compassion that you say, "Oh, don't worry. Why are you troubling your body so much? It's better to sleep." Why you
Yeah.
not allowing yourself to eat all kind of junk food which you want to eat? Why you not giving yourself that thing? No, this is stupidity. This is not compassion.
Mm.
Compassion
Mm.
is, if I need to do something for this body, I will do because it's needed.
Mm.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. That's the whole idea
Yeah.
of being self compassionate, that you are doing
Yeah.
what your body need. Right now it
Mm.
will sleep and it will have that instant pleasure, okay, but in the long term you have to pay a cost. As a
Yeah.
self compassionate person, sometime you have to take those hard decisions, because in the keeping the long term in mind.
Mhm.
What is it, if I don't take care of it now, what's going to happen tomorrow?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you might come across that, oh, how can you be a compassionate person? No, you don't need to prove to the world you're a compassionate person. You
Yeah.
need to see what's good for me. If and you're part of me, I know what's good for you, I'll do
Yeah.
that. You may not
It's
see it
having,
today,
yeah,
but tomorrow you'll see it.
yeah, it's having that awareness and clarity, right? To think that it's beyond. It's not just me in this compassion, right? And how can we see compassion more at work? Can you give some examples or some tools that we can, bring into the workplaces?
The interesting thing is, when I was talking to somebody from the team, and when we were creating a program a few months back on
Yeah.
compassion, they said, they tried looking for many things on the internet, on the YouTube and all of that. They said, we came across only empathy at work. you know there's
Mm.
people are talking about compassion, but in a very mumbo jumbo way. Nobody's giving
Yeah.
you exactly what it is. Everybody's talking about empathy,
Yes.
nobody's
Yes.
talking about compassion, because maybe a lot of people don't understand the difference between empathy and compassion.
Yeah.
Right now,
Yeah.
the simple thing is, empathy is, I'm feeling what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Now world had one sad person, now they have two. But
Mm.
who's going to take action? It's not, I'm just feeling, it's enough, this I'm empathetic person. But when you take action, then you become
Yeah.
compassionate, because
Yeah.
without taking action, without having that intention to take you out of that pain, I can be empathetic, but I am not compassionate. Now
Yeah.
what you can do at, the one of the simplest thing at the workplace, can I just have, little understanding about how people are feeling? This
Yeah.
itself is a beginning
Yeah.
towards, you being compassionate.
Yeah.
At the workplace, how the other person is feeling.
Yeah.
If the
Just
other
providing
person
that
is,
space,
yes,
first of
just
all, right?
providing where I
Yeah.
can just allow this space where other person can just be who
Yeah.
he or
And
she is.
share. Yeah.
Yes. No, the thing is, at the
Mm.
workplace, we have created a culture where you can only share, your strengths and your success,
Yes.
your
Yes.
everything, that you want to show that
Yes.
strong face.
Yeah.
This is not where you can talk about compassion.
Yeah.
You
And
can
there's
talk
no
about
space
result
for
and performance.
vulnerability, right? There's no space for
Exactly.
vulnerability. So how
If
can you then show compassion?
there is no space for vulnerability at the workplace, then there is no space for compassion, because that's
Exactly.
the first
Yeah.
step.
Yeah.
Vulnerability is the first step towards the
Yeah.
compassion. If I'm
Mm.
not allowed to be who I
Mm.
am, I always have to pretend who I am not.
Yeah.
Then I have to always pretend who I am not. I will feel suffocated. It means
Yeah.
you are not creating a compassionate workplace.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
this is, I think,
Absolutely.
the beginning. It's
Creating that
already
space. So
started. Yeah.
what tools would you suggest for businesses to bring into place to create that, exactly that vulnerability, that space where compassion can be in action?
Compassion is always in action. Just that you bring that action into your organization on, that's the only question.
Yeah.
There are many tools and other things that we can talk, but the most important thing that we need to understand, due to the
Mm.
constraint of time, is
Mm.
that the first thing that you need to, when you're talking about compassion at work, it will always start from the top.
Yeah.
If I see that in this organization, you
Hmm.
know compassion is rewarded, it's valued, you
Mm.
know I get to bring that. Now the problem with, a lot of time, people feel, if I'm compassionate, I will let go of the profit. In the
Mm.
last session, we in our last Head Heart Fest, we had
Yeah.
this topic called compassion and profit can go
Yeah.
together. Yeah,
Yeah.
that does not mean that I have to do it for free. There are people,
Yeah.
there are, if your audience, you offering something, if you understand the pain point, and
Yeah.
then you offer your services, then your marketing cost will come down, first of all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because now you're offering what they need.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're offering something that they don't need. You need to have a big marketing budget, because now you need to tell them, create that need first.
Yeah.
So the compassion is when you actually understand what my people want in my organization.
Yeah.
If I give them, no, a lot of time it happens, a manager or a leader come to us and they say, we want a happiness thing for our initiative
Mm.
for our employees. Why do you want it? Oh,
Yeah.
because it's good to have. No, they don't have a clear why. Why do I want it? It's just because it's a branding activity for them.
Mm.
Because everyone is talking about it, we should also talk about it.
Yeah.
If that is the case, then it's good to have a branding activity. It's as a
Yeah.
marketing thing. But
Yeah.
ultimately, they're not going to make any difference. Now, to be compassionate, it's a very personal thing. You can't have a
Yeah.
compassionate organization. You can't have compassionate organization. You can
Yeah. Do you
only have
think that,
compassionate leaders.
right? Do you think that, of course, across industries and markets, that business leaders are focusing more on the needs of their clients than their employees?
Yeah, because they feel, I think, that's where the money come from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if I focus on the need, then it's important to understand the need of the client when you're making a
Of
product.
course. Of
Yes.
course. Yeah.
But the one, how my people are going to, how people are going to buy from me, or use the services, when my employees are not resonating with that idea. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think this is something which everybody has already started talking about,
Yeah.
and everybody has started already
Yeah.
realizing that,
With
until
empathy,
unless,
right?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
that if I
Yeah.
don't take care of my people,
Yeah.
my own people, no matter what I talk about my clients, it's just a good marketing pitch.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So let me just check. I had another question actually, since we talked about parent, bringing that being almost to work, right? A business leader being more compassionate, just like you would be with your children. How can we teach compassion also to our children?
Compassion is not something that you can teach them, because children are already
Okay.
compassionate. You take that away
Yeah.
actually from children by telling them,
Yes.
how
Yes.
to be a smart person in the world. The
Yes.
moment you
Work
start
hard.
teaching them, you start teaching them all these things, how to better at your transaction, how to get more and give less. You
Yeah.
taking that compassion away. The only way you
Yeah.
can teach your children compassion is when you teach them that sometime in some areas of your life, it's okay to lose. At
Mm.
family, you're having an argument, don't you think it's okay to lose that argument?
Mm.
Yeah, sometimes it's okay that you have, sometimes
Yeah.
in when you're playing, you are in the game, you always want to win, and that, otherwise
Yes.
there's no point playing a game if you not want to win.
Yeah.
But then if you're doing that in your family, every time you want to win in your family, I've seen, the people are so competitive with each
Yeah.
other, even in the
Yeah.
family. Yes, it's good to have show that competition and everything, but it's your priority. What do you want to bring as a value in
Yes,
in your
yes.
family first? Do you want to bring the value of competition, or you want to bring the value of compassion? In fact, you can
Mm.
bring both, but you need
That's
to choose
lovely.
what comes
Competition or
first.
compassion. Yeah.
Yeah. No, can I? No, there are. I think if you look at it, if I want to win, I don't have to harm my competitor, right? I just have to
Mm.
be the best, and then if they are getting better, it's good for me, because
Yeah.
I will be more thriving towards the next level then.
Yeah. But it's having that exactly as you say, be that space, or but also that mindset to say, if I apply myself and give my best to this, yes, I may win or I might lose, but it's also being open to the idea that giving that chance to somebody else as well. Like, oh, I'm in a situation where my son, he plays tennis, and when he's playing games and he loses, and there was this one moment I just felt so proud. He came over and he said, well, actually, no, he won this match. And I didn't congratulate him straight away because I could see the competitor was quite sad. He came up and he said, Mom, I feel so bad for him because he lost, and I was just like, okay, this is a moment where he is exactly that, compassion in action. He didn't first raise, I won. He felt the pain for his opponent who lost, and it was just a moment where exactly what you're saying, teaching, being that role model to show kids to not always win, right? And or even if he did win, showing compassion for his opponent in this case,
Yeah.
it was one of those moments where I felt, okay, he had a bit of empathy, and okay, he didn't go about doing anything, in action, but he felt it. He felt for him, even though it was a moment for him. Anyway,
This is a
we're
good
running.
thing, and then that's why you don't need to teach compassion to kids. This is what they're born with. You don't need to
Yeah,
teach them love. This is
yeah.
what they're born with. You don't need to
Basic
teach them how to
natures.
be happy, because
Yeah,
that's the basic nature.
yeah,
Somehow we kind of ruining it as they're growing up,
yeah.
and
So
that's
would
why
you
these
say,
happy kids, then as they're growing up, the moment they get into the teens, they become that little
the
longer face.
frown comes, right?
Yeah, and slowly they start having all those things, because then they say,
Yeah.
life gets tough. No, 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 life don't get tough. You go to an office, you ask somebody who's just doing some basic work there. You ask them, and how is your work? They say very stressful. Go and ask the CEO, very stressful. No, it's not the life is difficult. It's how your ability to deal with the
Mm,
situation outside that
mm,
makes your life difficult or easy. If
yeah,
you're growing as a person, if you're growing from inside, you will see that actually whatever life is throwing at you and you're growing with it, you're not getting more stressed.
yeah,
You are getting more capable of dealing with
yeah,
this. Yeah.
yeah,
And when you do it with the compassion, the most important thing for us to see is that compassion has no choice. You can't have compassion that, okay, I'll be compassionate with this person but not with that person. That's a transaction. Okay,
mm,
empathy can happen with choice. If
mm,
I belong to, there are a lot of experiment which shows that if I
mm,
belong to a certain category, I relate to their pain, I relate to their, they just like me in some way, one way the other, I can be empathetic. I can have choice, but in compassion there's no choice. And that's
yeah,
why
absolutely.
probably people are somehow finding it difficult to talk about this at the workplace, and they're much more comfortable talking about empathetic leadership, not compassionate leadership.
Yeah, perhaps. But do you see that shift coming, especially after, going through a pandemic?
So I tell you, in the 1990s, if you remember, in the early 2000, when
Mm,
the Y2K era and that time, a lot of
yes.
people will talk about kindness.
Mm,
They will talk about kindness as a value. Recently, I mean, you don't see a lot of people talking about, you've been to so many conferences and everywhere, you don't see people talking about kindness, because then 2000, 2005, 5 onwards, and people started talking more about empathy.
mm,
Then from and in fact, before that they were talking kindness to sympathy and then empathy. Now people have started talking about compassion. I think
compassion.
in the
Yeah.
next 5 to 7 years, if you see, I think probably just like you hear the word sympathy very less nowadays, you will
Mm,
not hear much of empathy. Also, you will be hearing more
mm,
of compassion. It's like, when you keep on expanding your boundaries, you are moving from the kindness to the sympathy to the empathy and then the compassion.
Yeah.
And
Lovely.
when you reach the compassion state, then it's all the selfless, which is self, which is boundless.
Yeah, it's more interdependent, isn't it? It's another
Yeah,
topic to talk about. I think
yeah.
we're slowly running out of time, but the things that you talked about are so valuable. And I see that throughout today's agenda, where you talk about how, when we think about a child and how we've taken away so much, this is exactly where we're hoping to go with today's agenda, with reconnecting, unlearning, and really giving those practices that we can also apply in workplaces. So it is the essence of our being and connecting to, spreading that awareness and happiness.
Yeah.
So, any last words, Karan, before we head out?
So I think you it's time when we move beyond our moralities and we start operating from our humanity. Because in
Mm,
this time when we are in, we were not, COVID was not left behind, and then the new problem has started in the world, the war and
mm,
everything.
mm,
If the compassion is not brought into this world today, a lot of such things will happen, and world is not
mm,
ready for that. We already
mm,
have enough problems, people have
mm,
enough issues in their life already, that emotional challenges which people are going through,
mm,
much more difficult to handle than the physical challenges they were having earlier. Initially the government, it was easy, as a developing country, I can tell you, the earlier government, the task was very easy. You need to provide them with the food, the shelter, and basic things.
yeah,
It was easier because it's physical in nature, right?
mm,
You actually, over period of time, as you keep bringing more foreign investment, do this industry, grow your industry, do this, do that, you have money, you can provide this infrastructure and everything. Now the
mm.
problem has changed, the nature of the problem is very different
Absolutely.
now.
Yeah,
It's
we've
invisible.
evolved.
you're
Yeah,
fight you're fighting an invisible army, and that you call it mental health problem, you call it, the anger and the
yeah,
emotional disturbance people are going through. And at the time like this, when there is so much of uncertainty, can you be very sure, 100% sure, and tell me that the COVID is gone? No, nobody can say that it's gone.
no,
You never know it. In China and some part, it's already again
yeah,
started showing up,
mm,
right? We still not sure if this this little monster which is hiding somewhere will again come in front
yeah,
of us, again stop the whole world. Maybe something else is coming,
yeah,
so everybody is afraid, and there's uncertainties which are happening. And a time like this, when people have uncertainties, because if for humanity, there's only one very cheap form of medication,
mm,
which you can give as a society, and that is hope.
mm,
Somehow when there are uncertainties, people,
yeah,
these they don't have hope. And when you don't
mm,
have hope, you feel very depressed. I think there are a lot of experiments
absolutely.
which are done, scientific experiment,
Mhm,
when they put like they take a two jar, filled with water. In one they put the domesticated rats, in another one they put
mhm,
the wild rats, and they saw
mhm,
that the domesticated rats could survive for days swimming,
mm, mm,
and after days they got drowned. And the wild one, within few hours, they just got drowned. And it was very
yeah,
surprising, because the thing is that how can a wild rat, who has more physical
yeah,
capability and stamina and everything, can just drown just in few hours, whereas the other one takes days swimming. So what this what this researcher did, he brought this the rat outside. Every time it's about to get drained, it just bring it outside, just take care of it, and again put it back. And every time he does this rat, who is hoping that somebody will protect me,
wow,
they were able to
yeah,
stay
survive,
longer and survive
survive longer, yeah,
a longer time. Yeah. Now this is where the need of hope comes for the society. Now, though I
mm,
know hope is something which is again may not be real, but a time like this, when there is uncertainty and you don't have enough infrastructure to
mm,
provide mental health counseling, and the and and help them, assist with those services, hope is something that plays a big role. So I
absolutely,
think this is what
absolutely.
world need. So
Yes, keeps us
let's
going.
see if we can be those, we can do whatever we are doing in
Yeah,
our little possible way. If we can create this little hope in the world, that okay,
yeah,
things are going to be fine if you work toward it.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. If we don't take our own choice to make that difference as well, make different choices. Okay, we have to head back now. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Karan,
Tanya.
and
Yeah,
we'll speak
lovely speaking
soon.
to
So
you.
I think we have now Lewis coming back, or Mina perhaps.
Yeah,
All right, Karan. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Bye. Oh, she's here.
Hey, thanks, Meena.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hi, Tony. It was really great listening to you. And now we are transitioning to some spine practice. So we'll be back soon with you.
Mhm.
Okay, so now it is time for some practice to keep our spines erect, because you know how we keep our spine is also affecting how our body is functioning, how our brain is functioning. So today we will be talking about how to be at our best selves at work, how to be happy at work. But to do so is kind of like a combination of like how we feel psychologically and also physically. So today we have Ipek with us, and she's a yoga instructor, and she's going to show us, guide us how we can keep our spine erect, and to just like show how we can do it every day. And Ipek, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Mina. Hi, everyone. Today, we will go through a very easy 15-minute somatic yoga therapy flow. In this flow, I will guide you through some movements. But the crucial thing is there are no rules for this practice. All I want for you is just to listen to your body and adjust to the moves as your body wishes. So, sit in a comfortable position. I'm in my desk because I thought you would be in your desks as well. So, sit on your desk, find your straight spine, and slowly find your breath. By finding the breath, what I mean is just inhale from your nose and exhale from your nose. It doesn't have to be deep. Don't try to deepen it, just let it flow. And if you found your breath, bring your fingertips and we will start with some tapping. Start tapping the cheekbones, bringing some sensation to the skin. And from here, very slowly, move towards your eyes. By the way, you can close your eyes. Okay. Come to the center of eyebrows and tap there. And check your breath on forehead. It might change. Just be curious today. Try to bring your awareness to the sensations as we go through the movement. Gently to the top of the head. The pressure might increase because skull is very different than this is. So top of the head, sides of the head. Feel the vibrations moving all around. And as you come down to where your skull meets your spine, bring your fingers and give yourself a gentle massage. Feel the muscle there, feel the skin, and pull it gently towards the neck. Everything is connected, so there's no such thing as skull releasing or spine releasing. We have to take it as a whole. And your neck plays a very crucial role here. from here, start tapping the front of the neck, the collarbones. And as you reach the shoulders, you place your hand inside your shirt and once again, place your palm and very gently pull the skin forward. Connected with your breath, inhale and exhale. Last one. Come back to the center and the other side. The way I touch my body involves orientation. So I'm not only touching my body, but I'm also guiding it. It's soft, yet I'm giving it direction so it can release. That's actually what we do through yoga practices. We give direction to the muscles to let go. And last one. And now we will drum the chest. You decide on the pressure, especially the sternum, the Thales gland, thymus gland. And slowly, we never stop the motion at once. We first slow down, then in time, our body stops moving. We always give time, body, to adjust both to movement and non-movement. And bring your palms together, rub them. Feel the heat, feel the sensations in your hands. Rub the fingers. And now squeeze your hand. Your lower arm. And maybe squeezing is too much. Sometimes there's too much tension. Then just, once again, just put little pressures with your finger on the skin. It's your body, your yoga, so you decide what feels best. And slowly feel the skin around the bone, move it in a circular direction. Give the fascia a real release. And the other side. We start by squeezing first. As I told you, if squeezing is too much, find what feels best and continue with that. And you rub the tissue over the bone. And relax and shake. Shake, 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 shake. Shake your hands, your elbows, your arms. Shaking is a very powerful relaxation system method. So shake. And slow down. Then in time, stop. Find your breath once again. Maybe you need a sigh. Just take a deep breath and let it go from your mouth. Maybe with voice. Respect what your body tells you. Respect your needs. And close your eyes and bring your awareness to the sensations in your arms, your shoulders, your neck, your head, the parts we worked with. How do you feel? In just 10 minutes with very basic movements, is there any change? And now place the fingertips on the collarbones. We'll continue with neck movements, but I want you to be very careful with this and think about it as a scale. If there is a scale 1 to 10, we move until we move up to 6. And so you can go more, but there's no need. Neck is a very delicate joint, so no need to push. Bring your fingertips to the collarbones. Gently breathe in and move your back, move your neck backwards. I can go much more, but I'm not going. This is my 6 and it's enough. My 6 is good enough. Exhale, back, chin to chest. Once again, I can go more. No need. 6 is enough. Find your pace, find your limits. Once you get the grip of the movement, you can close your eyes. Closing eyes provides a better connection with ourselves. If you need mouth breaths, take mouth breaths. Don't force yourself to nose breaths. Slowly, as you come to center, you end the movement. Relax your hands. Take one more deep breath and sigh. Now we will move our neck to the sides, again on our 6. So right cheek towards right. And from here, you place your right hand on your left cheek. I'm not pushing. I'm just placing, giving myself support. I feel the touch of my hand on my cheek and my hand is supporting me. Your gaze is forward. If you want, you can look down or up. It will be harder for your eyes, but maybe you need that, so you decide. Easy breaths. There's no tension on my arm. The side of my neck is opening. The lengthening feeling on the side. That's the only focus. Arm, release the neck, and to the other side. So left cheek, left shoulder, hand supporting your head. breath is flowing. If there's only one rule that you shouldn't do is holding the breath, because breath is energy. So let it flow through every movement. Let it guide you. And release the arm, neck. We'll continue with rounding the shoulders. Inhale and exhale from front to back. Once again, you can exaggerate more. There's no need. This is the same movement, same benefits. Just do mindfully. Feel your shoulder blades contracting and opening as you roll your shoulders. Feel your hands, maybe they're on your thighs, mine are. So feel their touch on your thighs. Last round. As you finish it, come back to where you started. Take one more breath. And we will reverse the motion, so from back to the front. Last one. Come back to center. Take a deep breath and sigh. Once again, if it's okay, close your eyes. Feel the sensations all around the upper body. Stay with that for a couple of breaths. And now, open your mouth widely and yawn, as if you're waking up for the first time in the morning. Very big yawn. Maybe with a voice. And stretch your arms to the sides, to the front, to the back. Just move and arch a little bit. The other way around. We always work both ways. And relax. Namaste. Hope you enjoyed it.
I loved it. I mean, I always do.
Yes. Actually, everyone always do, but no one does it regularly. That's my problem. Everyone loves it once they do it.
Yeah, so we have it on YouTube. So if anyone missed it, they can always go back and just like do it again. And like moving forward, they can also practice it daily. So thank you, Ipek. It was really great to have you again in our
Thank
event. And we
I
hope
love this
to
platform.
see you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so we have our dear Talu back and Lorraine. And let me just have them on the stage. Hi, ladies. Hello.
Hello.
So I'm leaving the stage to you. Have fun. Spread some happiness. Now we'll be back soon.
Thanks, Min. And
Thank you.
welcome, everyone. Hi, Talu.
Hi. All right, I'm just going to see if I can get the presentation up. You can introduce yourself while I'm doing that.
Okay, so welcome everyone to this session. We're going to do with you today a little session on hackathon. So bringing happiness to work, but sort of thinking also about yourself and your own happiness. So I thought I'd do a quick introduction. So I'm Lorraine Stamp. I'm a global Chief Happiness and Mindfulness Officer, and Tolu is with me. Tolu, did you want to say who you are?
Yes, hello. My name is Talu, and I'm a global happiness coach, and my coaching practice is called Happy Matters Coaching. And I'm currently based in Germany, actually set to move again soon, so hence the global happiness coach. Yeah, I'm just going to try to get our presentation up. So if you just bear with me a second, I think, oh, you've got it. Well done. That was good timing, Lorraine.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so earlier with Karen actually, we touched on a few things on, how to bring that being and connecting happiness. And this is a lovely workshop that actually it's the first time Lorraine and I are doing it together. We've done this also with many coaches last year as a hackathon. So this is a really short version of it. So we're trying to cram as much as we can, but to give you a taste, and hopefully you'll come along to one of the next future sessions as well. Yeah. All right. I hand back to you, Lorraine.
So what we thought we'll do is just touch on a few things, just so you can get an idea of what to experience, because we have lots of programs to really kind of get you to understand and learn and unlearn all about happiness. So we thought we would touch on what is the cost of happiness. Are you going to give yourself permission to be happy? And then we're going to look at what does happiness feel like, and then looking at where did it all start. And then through to something called predicting happiness. And this is like really interesting to kind of really think about what are our current beliefs? Where are we currently? And then some ideas around how to increase happiness, finishing with a little bit of quality of participation in life. So I thought I would start with, do you really want to be happy? I think this is quite an interesting point to kind of start at, because when we kind of look around at the things that are going on around us and kind of looking at situations. So if you were to look at those images at the moment, you'll see that there's someone there. This could be you. You're sitting on a park bench and you're kind of looking around, and you're in this beautiful nature perspective all around you. But you're noticing just over to one side of you that there is a child who is a little bit sad, crying, is kind of wanting to kind of, almost attract attention. And then you have a child who over on the right-hand side is playing quite naturally, is quite happy and content. And if you were there, imagine that you're taking a break from work and you're sat on this bench, observing that around you. Which child would you naturally be drawn to? It would be quite interesting just to see in the chat, where would you go? Where would your attention go? Would you be going towards the child that was a little bit sad, or would you be going towards the child that was happy? So have a look in the, do type into the chat and just let us know which one would you go. And it's quite interesting because when you look at the research behind this, and we've done research on this, it's quite fascinating because naturally as human beings, we are drawn to the child who is sad and a little unhappy. And, it's just our basic nature because we are naturally there to help others. The child that is blessed, is there and is all happy and playing, generally we leave them be, we let them be because they're content as they are. So kind of that cost of happiness almost is that we're paying attention to the child who is sad. And, rightly so, because, we don't want to see children unhappy. If we were to look at another context, you've actually got here,
actually, we're not able to see the park bench slide. Sorry, I wanted to interrupt you, but you were in such beautiful flow.
Can you try to do it in the presenter mode? Yeah. Maybe that's why.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Works. So if you go back up 2 more, or just in the play mode. It's on, currently you can see what does happiness feel like.
Okay. Is it presenting now?
Nope. It's still in sort of view mode.
Can you go down to? I cannot see it, but should
Do
be
you
like the
really want to be
presenter mode or
happy?
like the
Mhm.
the view. If you just like go to the view.
Apologies. There's for this. It's not allowing me to share now. I think because it's gone on presenter view.
Okay. If
Let me
you
also have a look from my side if I can share.
if you can send me the file, I can also try.
We can talk without the slides.
Okay.
We'll
Yeah.
let people just imagine. So basically, let's kind of imagine we're in the office. So the one with the child, we're moving on from that. So if you imagine that you're in an office, you're the line manager or team leader, and you're kind of looking around, and this piece of work comes in, and you are fully stacked with commitments, but there's this piece of work that needs to be done. Kind of looking around the office to think who would be able to kind of help and support with that. Would you be drawn as a line manager or team leader to a member of staff who was quite stressed and overworked with piles of paperwork? Or would you generally be drawn more to the person who was quite happy and chatting with other people? So in the chat, just kind of imagine you're in that scenario, and what would be kind of going on for you as a line manager? Would you be drawn to the stressed person or the one that was quite happy? So it's quite a fascinating activity to kind of think about. So again, naturally, what happens as a boss is we would go to the person who was happy because, you know, they look like they haven't got a lot on and they're not stressed, so they probably have the time to do it. So if you think from that cost of happiness perspective, the child who was unhappy was basically being rewarded by getting attention. And in the office, the person that got more work was the one that was potentially happy. So there is like almost like this cost to happiness. So do we really want to be happy? So I think that's quite an interesting way to kind of look, isn't it, Tolu, around actually if we're so happy, are we taken seriously? So there's always it's like a double-sword edge where you're kind of thinking, actually, if I show up as this really happy person, am I going to get more work? And, you know, as parents, sometimes one of the things that you can kind of see is that every time a child, you know, misbehaves or is sad, we're kind of rewarding them with chocolate, toys, you know, to kind of appease them. So actually, it's almost like this unlearning process that we need to kind of go through to kind of think, actually, did we reward in the right way in the first place? Because do we really reward happiness, I suppose, is a good question to ask. So it would be good to kind of really think about sort of that prediction as well. So when we're thinking about happiness, you know, do we spend a lot of our time thinking about what made us happy in the past, or what makes us happy in this present moment, or potentially what would make us happy in the future? And I think sometimes that's quite a good way to kind of look at it as well, because what can generally happen sometimes is your knowledge of the past can actually become sometimes your biggest hindrance as going forward, because you think that what made you happy in the past is going to make you happy today or in the future. But we like to evolve as humans, don't we? We don't really want the same things. We want to grow and evolve as we do. So, you know, what made me happy when I was 5 isn't potentially going to make me happy as an adult. But sometimes we carry this, you know, baggage or our beliefs of the past into this present moment. And we know that this present moment that we're here right now, and it's different times across the world, but it's kind of just gone 1:30 here in the UK. Actually, this is our only reality where we can actually experience or feel happy. And the rest is imagination, because the past is gone, it's not real anymore, and the future's not even here yet. And so actually it's about experiencing happiness in this moment. So have a think about, where would you tend to find your happiness? Are you kind of looking back over that past, or are you spending more of it predicting your future? Or do you feel actually you are experiencing this only reality and being more in this present moment? So again, join in the chat. Tell us where it is that you spend majority of your time. And the other thing is kind of where we look for happiness as well. Can you imagine when you say to yourself, I'll be happy when I get this next promotion, I'll be happy. When I get the flash car and the house, I'll be happy. When I don't get anyone shouting at me, I'll be happy. So do we live with those stories almost that, you know, we're not happy in this moment, because we know that, you know, life is happening here right now. And yes, we're living through some quite challenging times around the world, but happiness is somewhere in here. It's if we think about from an external perspective, sometimes we can be a little bit disappointed, or we can be always chasing that next thing. And you know, we know that when we start to kind of really think about it, if we're always wanting to be happy when we've got that next promotion, or we get the next, you know, fancy car or pair of shoes and handbag, that actually there's a gap. So it means that we're not happy here right now. So I want to hand over to Tolu, because she's going to talk to you about kind of what does happiness feel like. So
Yes.
Tolu.
Yeah, I think it's so important to also go within and really connect to it, right? I mean, we've not only from an intellectual concept. So what better than actually having you relive it? So what I'd like to ask you all to take a moment, you know, we're not going to go into meditation. I just want you to go back into a time in your past, or it could have been yesterday or this morning, and just, you can close your eyes, just get comfortable and just really, truly relive a moment where you were truly happy. And the reason why I want you to tap into this is where you are going to connect to that true essence, right? So let's just think back, relive that moment. And as you really relive that moment, truly go back into that space, surround yourself into, where was that? You know, could it have been at the beach, on vacation? Could it have been at home with your family? Really look at who was surrounding you, where were you? And even take in, you know, what could you smell? What could you hear? Try and get your senses going and see what was connecting you back to that moment. So just take a moment and relive that. What can you smell? Who's around you? What's the air like? What can you hear? This moment where you were truly happy. Now, as you come back, I'd like to ask you that question now. What does happiness feel like? Now, we've done this exercise several times, and there are very similar answers that the audience and the group come back with. So if you've got some thoughts and some words that you'd like to share, put them into the chat so that we can then share them with you all. I will say also what we've experienced doing this workshop, what we've heard and what words have come up. So I'm just going to wait to see if anything's coming up in the chat before I do actually share.
I think for me, Tolu, it's that contentness and just warm glow inside,
right?
And you know, just feeling at ease with everything.
Yeah, those are the exact words. Pretty much everyone that has taken that moment to just relive feeling my dad in heaven. Okay. Yeah. So this closeness, this warmth, this connection, right? And across, when we look at these words that we're using to describe what does happiness feel like, just take a moment to just see what are these words. Yeah, they're usually peace, calm, content, at ease, relaxed. So, on this journey of exploring happiness, would you say that these words are actually expressions of happiness? Meaning, are they words that describe happiness, or are they happiness? I'm getting you confused now, I'm sure, but perhaps I'll give you another example here. Let's say I was pointing to the moon with my hand, and you're looking at my hand thinking that's the moon, right? So you're referring to something, I'm referring to something, but you're looking in the different direction to the moon. You're actually looking at the direction of my hand. So in a similar sense, could it be that these words that we've described happiness, peaceful, content, calm, relaxed, as, yes, positive expression words. Now, just add a twist to that. Okay, let's say we say that's happiness, right? What about somebody who's about to run for a marathon, is, getting ready to run this marathon, or an athlete who's going to go for a competition, the Olympics, whatever activity they're going to be involved in? Would you say that those words would also describe that moment of happiness for an athlete, or somebody who's about to go for a marathon? What do you think, Lorraine?
I can really relate to that when I was doing my bike ride, because
Right.
it was painful, but
Yeah.
do you know what? I was happy because I was doing something, physical, mental, emotional. So there was this serenity, although it was a little bit painful. So in my expression, in my face, I was probably looking quite pained, but actually the feeling.
Not so calm then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when we think about it, those are moments where an athlete or somebody running the marathon are experiencing happiness. Yet those expressions are probably a little bit different. They'd probably be feeling a bit more stressed, perhaps a little bit more eager, tired even, perhaps, right? So, just want to bring this awareness to you all, that are we understanding happiness? Are we really looking in the direction of the moon, the happiness, or are we just looking at that hand? So, of course, those were perhaps painful experiences where somebody's going for a marathon, or somebody's in the Olympics, where a bit more painful, yet it was still happiness, right? So, in this journey of this workshop, this is what we want to do, is to help you become more aware of what is happiness for you, and to see what we've been referring it to in ways. And in the next few 20 minutes or so, we're going to try to give you a glimpse of exploring it, perhaps even unlearning it, right? So when I say we're going to look to the direction of the moon, yeah, what I'd like to do here is, first of all, just step back and see how we can unlearn, because happiness is actually a basic nature. We were all born with it, right? So what's happened along the way? Where's it gone? Why are we sort of confused with only referring it to as positive expressions, right? Can we go beyond? Is there something deeper that we can connect to and refer to as happiness, and bring it into our being in all our senses, right? So if we go back to the moment we arrived, the moment we were born and we entered, right? If we think back, what were the things that were given to us? Lorraine, maybe you can jump in and help me with some of the things that at that moment, because obviously I want to understand. And earlier when I was talking to Karen, we talked about, a child having all of those skills almost, right? And how we, in a way, we need to unlearn, just as when we think about tapping into that compassion that's already there. Where's it gone, right? Or why is it that we feel we're disconnected? So how can we bring ourselves to become more aware? So I want to use an example of going back literally to the moment you arrived on this planet. Okay, what was the first thing? Let's go with the first thing that was given to you. Lorraine,
So,
jump in.
so my gender, I was a female.
Yeah. Right. Your gender, and then what else came along?
My name.
Your name, yeah. And what else?
My religion.
Your religion, right? Exactly. And then also your family name, and what else? Let's keep walk through.
School, the education, the jobs that I had, so whether I was a parent, so those different roles and identities that kind of almost get put on us.
Absolutely. So over the years, if we look at a timeline, and of course, when we think about earlier, you mentioned, where is it that we're looking for happiness? And particularly in times when we look in the past, when we're referring to things of wanting to relive moments because it pleased us in the past. Similarly, over the years, we've accumulated many, many things. Let's call it that, right? So if we're looking at happiness at being at the core of our being when we arrived, right? And in a respect, we've got now, I want you to visualize this. You're adding labels. So if you want to take Post-it notes, just take that for an example. Imagine yourself taking on a Post-it note and applying it all over. Okay, so now you've got your name, you've got your gender, you've got all your experiences. Thank you. You've got all your qualifications and all your strengths, but you've also got your weaknesses here as well. And what happens is, I mean, physically, can't even see Lorraine anymore, right? She's hidden behind this wall of and these Post-it notes, literally, right? So in a way, how is it possible for us to tap into our core when we are hidden, covered, and also weighed down with all this baggage and weight? Can we go beyond? How can we? We can't even get through. I mean, if you look in the mirror, what do you see? Right now, you just see all these things that we're carrying forward. And as we said, when we want to truly experience happiness in the moment, how can we? We're still in the past in a way, right? Bringing all this baggage with us. So how can we unlearn? How can we let go of all this? Now, did you want to say something? I felt like you wanted to say something there.
I was just going to touch on, it's the same with the identities and the roles, but also going back to, that when I'll be happy kind of thing. And we start accumulating stuff and we almost go on that happiness shopping experience.
Yes.
There's a really great saying that says the things that you own end up owning you. And I think sometimes it can be
so true.
The roles and the identities and the labels, they become this belief that almost keep us quite stuck. Yeah. So how empowering is it to almost just take a look at what is it currently, that you're saying about yourself that's causing you to feel that, it can be a little bit crazy up here with so much going on. And then that is obviously pulling away at our happiness and making us feel a little bit in a chaotic world and feeling more stressed.
Yeah, it's restricting us, right? We just feel a little bit weighed down. And, if we want to see and experience happiness in the moment, right now with all these labels, or roles that we play, we're not able to step out. In many cases you will hear, come out of your comfort zone to truly expand and flourish in a way, right? Similarly, this is what's going on when we aren't able to connect within and allow ourselves to open up, just as Karen was saying, just open up, it's not possible when we are following this one track in a way. So sometimes I think, us humans can complicate things quite a lot, you know, and sometimes it's beautiful to just look into nature and even look into the garden. I mean, I've got a view here. I look into my garden, which kind of gives me that feeling of, right, I know what I need to look for. So what I'd like to do with you all is, let's not worry about us humans right now. I want you to just get some perspective, okay? And we're going to go into the garden, all right, and see what is happening in the garden, all right? So we're going to play a video, and I'm going to ask lovely Mina if she could play that for us. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Mina.
Can you let me know if you can see my screen?
I can.
Okay, let me just start it.
I'm going to play, it's a couple of minutes, or just less than 2 minutes, and okay.
I think it doesn't work when I go
Yeah,
full
there
screen.
seems to be a
Okay,
delay
I'll
in
try
the screen
again.
connecting.
I'll try again.
Mm-hmm.
Just a second. Let me
Mm-hmm.
try doing it here.
And when we do experience this video, just fully focus and truly experience what is happening. Yeah.
Let me see. I'll try again.
Thank you.
Maybe this will work now. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
And
Wonderful.
with the music?
Yes. Great. Wow.
I love that video.
Oh, goosebumps. Oh, isn't that beautiful? I think the question here would be, wouldn't you agree a sense of blossoming within makes us feel happy? What do you think?
Totally. It's,
Yeah.
you know, it's when we kind of allow ourselves as well to lose. You know, we give ourselves that permission to grow, to be happy, even when things are like they are around the world. It's a difficult time, but actually by us being optimistic and hopeful and happy, you know, we're helping people around us. And I think it's quite an interesting
Yeah, even at these times where you can see people are compassion in action, right? Particularly in Europe right now, where people are just hands-on, helping and supporting. And I think when we think of the sense of blossoming, it's not only in workplaces, right? It's not only, growing in a job. It's also in our relationships, in our communities. And, that's, I think, the one challenge we have as humans is that we always want to blossom like someone else, right? And, if we go back to that garden, and in this case, all the other flowers that we saw on the video, do we think that the flower itself, whether it was a rose or a lotus, was thinking, oh, I want to bloom like the other flower and not like me? It's just sometimes we complicate things. And if we just truly take a step back and get some perspective, clarity, yes, we're in constant growth. If we can just see how lucky we are. Yes, exactly. And having that ability to see that, we are here to flourish in life with our relationships, at work, in our communities, in our cities, as a global planet, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the important thing to remember here is a flower doesn't start off as a flower. It starts off as a seed, right? And of course, it needs that nurturing, fertile ground to grow. And in this aspect, I would say that's the willingness that we bring to ourselves, to allow ourselves, and as you said, giving ourselves permission, right, to grow and connect. And I think if we take this analogy as happiness, right, seeing blossoming as the journey of connecting and feeling happiness. Yeah.
And I totally, Nada has just put in there about the seeds grow from the darkest place. If you think about the lily, the lotus, and that they grow in the most murkiest, muddiest waters, and they still produce the most beautiful flowers. And it's such a great point, Lou, around comparison and social comparison. We are almost the influence of the people around us, and sometimes that can kind of cloud how we feel. So we go on to social media and we see our friends and we're kind of thinking that we want a bit of that, and we're not quite as far along the path as them, and so that can make us feel not we want to almost
not
join
aligned.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I think inspiration is always good, inspiration is good, and but being connected and aware on your own growth is the important thing, right? So just as that seed starts off and then has to break off from its outer shell and then becomes a leaf and then into a beautiful flower. And if we allow ourselves to, think of our journey and happiness as from this space. Yeah,
definitely.
You wanted to add on a little bit on how we can do that in our being, right? And the participation of how we can actually do this.
Yeah, definitely. And again, I'll start with kind of a really great kind of saying, which is, how you do one thing, you do everything. And if you were to imagine that you are like really, really hungry, and you kind of open up your fridge and you see the food on the shelf, what's kind of your first way of kind of, you're really starving, hungry, and you just want to eat. How would you generally eat that food? You know, Tulu, how would you eat that
Yeah,
food?
I'd probably scoff it down and be like, "Oh," you know.
Okay, and would you know kind of how it actually tasted or what it was?
Probably not. I'd gulp it down if I was starving, right?
Okay, and then if you could imagine that you are a food critic for maybe
Ooh.
like a Michelin restaurant or for a magazine, and you're going into this restaurant and they've served you, you know, these dishes of food, how would you kind of approach eating that food?
Oh gosh, I guess I'd probably be more critical and really focusing on how everything tastes and how it looks presented, and yeah,
So
probably
a little bit based on what you'd expected before and
as
a little
well.
bit of
Yes,
kind of past
exactly.
experiences.
Yeah,
A bit like, you know, the first time you eat mango, it
yeah,
can be a really great experience. And then the next time you eat it, it's almost like I'm going to compare it against the last mango.
yeah. It's not sweet
we
enough.
yeah, we start almost judging it. Okay, so now I want you to imagine that one of your loved ones has spent time preparing the most delicious dinner for you, and you know they've put all their care into it, and they've asked you about, you know, your particular, you know, they know you, they kind of know you and understand you, and then they prepare this most delicious, and you can smell the food, you know, and you sit down to eat that food. How would you go about eating
Oh
that?
gosh, I would be grateful. I mean, in my home, I'm the one who's cooking most days. So when someone else does this, takes on this chore, I think first of all, I'd be grateful, and
Yeah.
I would truly savor and mindfully enjoy this this meal in front of me. Yeah, yeah,
Totally. And this is a great metaphor for us in life. You know, we live on autopilot. Most of the time, our unconscious thinking pretty much is kind of running the show. And it's when we choose to be consciously aware, so actually focused on this attention to what we're doing in the moment, can we truly grasp that experience, truly feel and connect with other people? So, you know, can you just imagine that if you just adopted this just a few times, just a bit through your life until you really kind of start to truly connect with how different it feels. Can you imagine just going about the rest of your day to day
gosh, yeah,
mindfully?
yeah. Slowing down, being grateful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And
appreciating.
I think what happens sometimes is we allow so many things to almost just pass us by, and we're not,
Yeah,
you know, you use the perfect word there, savoring. You know, if we were to go and sit on the beach or sit in nature and just slow down and take in that scenery using our senses. Our senses are here for a reason, you know, our taste, our smell, our hearing, our sight, etc. Just imagine being able to kind of really connect with what's going on and seeing us as just a little speck, you know, a little speck in this massive universe that we live in. We sometimes allow ourselves to calm down that automatic nervous system that's kind of looking out for anything that can potentially be a bit of a perceived threat. But actually, in this moment here right now, as we are together, we are okay. And we can feel peaceful and we can feel content. So I would just ask everyone to just see how they could just add a little bit more of being more mindful, being more present, and enjoying and savoring those moments by moments. And this moment here right now, how are you feeling?
yeah, yeah, and applying that in all areas of your life, right? In your workplace, in with your relationships, and in everything that you do. And also being aware that, you know, when we go back to that video, when we saw all those flowers blossoming, there's space for all of us on this planet. There's space for us all to flourish. And, you know,
Absolutely.
so I think if we keep that energy as, and also, you know, it is that environment, right? Supporting each other as well, that compassion that we talked about earlier today, and how we can bring that so that we can also support someone else's growth, particularly in workplaces as well.
Definitely. And, you know, when you're having that next conversation with whoever you speak to next, just give this a go. Be really there, be present, and notice what you notice. be observant. And, this will make such a difference to you in your own life and at work. And I would just like to kind of ask people, just from a closed perspective, if you've got any questions or any thoughts that you would like, to just bring up. But happiness starts with you. It's look at where you are at. What is it that's stopping you from being happy, and how can you be happier?
Yeah, absolutely. Beautifully said, Lorraine. This was fun doing this with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see any questions coming up yet. I
Okay.
think we've got a few hours that is going to be talking more about, we've got a panel coming up, which is also going to be talking about bringing that best self at work, which is going to be really interesting. And I think next up, we've got a drumming session. So this should bring up the beat.
So Tom Morley is an amazing drummer that I was blessed to meet actually in lockdown. So I hope you enjoy this experience that he has sent over for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Now that you're saying that, Lorraine, I'm just like, dreaming about having an in-person event with Tom, maybe next year.
I'm already on the case, actually. I'm already in discussions with him around like how we can make this, really come, because honestly, the energy, you'll see it. You'll see it in a moment. You'll see how different. We know how drumming is like a connection to our heartbeat.
True.
It's a beat, and when we were in the womb, inside our mummy's tummy, way back when, that was our connection, the heartbeat. So there is this natural connection for drumming, and anyone can do drumming with anything as well. You don't need drums. You can just go and get your wooden spoons like we all demonstrated before. And music is great for helping us to connect with emotions as well. So I hope you enjoy.
We had lots of fun last time, so I'm sure that everyone's watching is going to have much fun. By the way, we have one question. What's the best way to bring yourself back to the appreciation mode?
So actually, later on, I'm going to be doing a meditation practice. So this is going to be really well suitable for exactly that. As Lorraine also said, you can also use that analogy of the food to really help you to appreciate and be more in a savoring, mindful mode. I think it's after the panel I'm going to be doing a meditation. So that would also help with kind of resetting. Yeah.
And also thinking about adopting something like a gratitude practice. I think bringing that in, and actually at the end of each day, even thinking about what 3 things went well.
Yes.
And
also I'm just like, also recommending my coaches to do a gratitude book where they are just like, noting like 5 things every day that they are grateful for 21 days, because you feel like you are going to run out of things that you feel grateful for, but you never do, because like we are taking so many things for granted. Absolutely. That we do not realize, even like breathing, even just like being able
Waking
to
up.
use our hands. Exactly. Like, standing up on our feet. I mean, we all just like feel like these are all like given, but they're not given.
No.
Absolutely. Come from a place of abundance rather than lack.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Great.
Thanks. See you later.
It's now some time for drumming, and we could use that energy. So please, it's going to be a lot of high vibes. So grab your wooden spoons and be ready for some drumming time.
Andy Warhol said, in the future, everybody will be famous for 15 minutes. That future has arrived. Are we ready? No. Are we going to go for it anyway? Yes! Accelerated by the pandemic, hybrid on-site and online events are here and here to stay, out of time, but in sync, working and driving from home, while connecting with our colleagues at multi-screen away day venues around the world. Technology is serving us today like it could have done 10 years ago, but we were too scared to try it. Enter Zoom. Our Zoom escapades have fired our imaginations and empowered us to take on the world. No one's on mute today. We look like the future, we sound like the future, and most importantly, we feel like the future. All we need now is someone to count us in, and we are the future. 1, 2, 3, 4. but there is in building. There's no I in teens, but there is in building. B for the beat, then you and I. B for the beat, then you and I. B for the beat, then you and I. L, 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 let's get going. There's no I in teens, but there is in building. There's no I in teens, but there is in building. B for the beat, then you and I. Whatever happened to the art of conversation? It's on the tip of my tongue. There is a word for it. I'm asking everybody in power because I think we could learn from it. It describes a commitment to a cause. You're a star but without the applause. How come they've never heard of it? Whatever happened to dedication? Whatever happened to transformation? Whatever happened to the heart of the nation? Whatever happened to the art of? Whatever happened to the art of? Whatever happened to the art of conversation? Speak to me of visions and dreams. Open my eyes. Walk the talk and we're gonna see flags of freedom flying high. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. Hey, oh, you and I. Hey, oh, you and I. We need more inverted commas, less parentheses, fewer. The thesaurus arrives, but we say we never sent for this. It's somehow wrong now to be clever. Curiosity's meant whatever. Come on, people weren't meant for this. Whatever happened to inspiration? Whatever happened to liberation? Whatever happened to the heart of the nation? Whatever happened to the art of? Whatever happened to the art of? Whatever happened to the art of conversation? Speak to me of visions and dreams. Open my eyes. Walk the talk and we're gonna see flags of freedom flying high. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. Hey, oh, you and I. Hey, oh, you and I. Whatever happened to the art of? Whatever happened to the art of? Whatever happened to the art of conversation? Can we get it done? Can we get it done? Can we get it done by Friday? That's the trouble with the groove. It has no destination. It might sound like a train. It's not stopping at the station. Nor is it a front page looking for a headline. The groove has nothing to do with my deadline. That's the trouble with the groove. It has no beginning, middle, end. It's not like a story I could tell to the child of a friend. If I did, would never ever get to bedtime. The groove has nothing to do with my deadline. Can we get it done by Friday? Can we get it done? Can we get it done? Can we get it done by Friday? That's the trouble with the groove. It has no destination. It might sound like a train. It's not stopping at the station. Nor is it a front page looking for a headline. The groove has nothing to do with my. Can we get it done by Friday? The groove has nothing to do with my deadline. So you may ask yourself, why have I got all these kitchen utensils?
Hello everyone, I'm Chrissy Brooke, dance fitness instructor. I'm going to be taking us through some dance warm-up moves, but first of all, over to Tom, who's going to show us all, old and young, how to find the groove.
Thanks, Chrissy. The groove is found at the crossroads of discipline and surrender. I'm Tom Morley, Rockstar Activator. You don't need all these drums to get into the groove, you just need 2 wooden spoons.
as the activities, I found them very, not because the other ones I did, but you're really getting us to think as a happiness specialist at the workplace. And really, I not just learned and applied what we're doing, but also learned a lot about the topic. So thank you for that.
I must say I enjoyed the focus of this week's challenges because it's really workplace relevant. I mean, all the challenges, these challenges we are facing as a company as well, and that we are trying to roll out. So, and I think that this is why I'm on this course. So I'm enjoying it immensely. So thank you for that.
I belong to SME. I'm not an MNC. So people who have exposure to MNCs and corporates and giving me the insight, that has actually given me a kind of a 360-degree view into this course, and I'm enjoying every step of it.
So that freedom, the passion that I could bring, the creativity, the collaboration, the communication, it was just awesome. And I feel like Happitude have totally allowed me to bring that back into this world. So yeah, I'm so excited.
I think the overall journey has been great, and I just love the case studies that you have on a regular basis, and many of them, you know, I wish I had this knowledge earlier on.
Well, first, let me say that when I heard about Happitude for the first time was when I was in a flight from India, precisely from Delhi to London. And my travel mate was a very happy lady, and she said, well, she had just taken the coach's course.
Joy of being together and joy of growing together. It's so wonderful. Her eyes went wet and everybody's eyes went wet. We are blossoming individually, blossoming together. Both are mutually exclusive experiences and we are growing. It's beautiful.
Mostly in courses, there's a certain level of, I feel like I'm going to be judged with what I'm going to say. It wasn't that feeling at all. It felt like I was in a room full of friends who were all just sitting around having a chat.
Quickly opened up and we were able to, bridge that gap. We didn't feel that we were strangers or we were people from different places. We started opening up, connecting, trying to, understand what each one was saying. So that was really beautiful.
That experience was totally different because the things that I had been doing before for spirituality, this course on meditation and all this about personal growth, I think, or I understood when I arrived for this workshop that it was maybe my ego driven before. And then this was really me discovering the new Alberto.
I'm a two-time survivor of cancer, so the program and particularly Praveen really helped me to take that jacket off. That's history now. You are here as you are, and I love that.
Thanks to Karan and thanks to everyone in Happitude. I think you guys are doing an amazing job.
When COVID struck, I was in the hospital for almost 10 days. And that is when I realized that, life is short. So it's important to, it was the first time I started introspecting. Why am I here? What is my purpose? And what do I actually want from this particular life?
I'm the first person that create happiness department in human resources, and also the first happiness manager of Turkey. Now I am giving happiness lessons at university. I have 5 books and more than 50 academic research about happiness.
It felt so liberating because I realized that I was like making all my trump cards not to deliver this. But once I did it, now everyone is asking for more. I'm in it for more.
I think I probably had the most incredible experience of my life.
For me, it was my first ever Zoom session I have done. I have never taught anybody, or then I'm just a simple housemaker.
Today they asked me to do a smaller session in the Mental Resilience Summit.
And was like, how will I handle people? Will I be able to do things or not? I'm not that techno or very good at Zoom or things. But 87 people came and I had people from 6 to 7 time zones.
Towards the end of the session, 2 of them have contacted me and asked me to do some stuff in their organization purely because they said, how did you get everyone to open up?
Now it's so liberating because once I did it, now I can do it like for several times. That was the magic.
But it was like amazing journey. I've never done this, My first, you can say, as a professional front or something, my first ever thing which I have done. So it feels so great, and I'm like, I slept like a baby on that day. I don't know, I was so active. First I was not able to sleep, and when I slept, I had that grin and smile. Oh my God, I did something.
It's informal, it's engaging, so it's like having a conversation, but you're also learning, and that's a nice way to do it, isn't it?
Come and join our group of happy people, happy coaches, and let's make this a better place. You know, we can do it. We can do it, but you need to start today, right now.
Okay, welcome back. So if you are interested, as we have all these programs, if you're interested in being part of this Happitude tribe, the global tribe, please do reach out to us. So now it's time to talk a bit about how to be at our best selves at work. And I have my panelists with me today. Hello, how are you?
Very well.
Hello.
Good. Yes. Good to see you all.
You're shining, everyone, all 3 of you. You're really shining. You're at your best selves, that's for sure. Okay, so we have Ozan, we have Rob, and we have Sonia today with us. And let's kick off our conversation. We will be talking about how to be at our best self at work. And so I know that all 3 of you have amazing career stories, and it's just like, all those stories about how to be at your best self, and maybe that's why you're really shining. So Rob, let's start with you. I mean, how was that path from being a performance artist to being an executive coach? Let's listen a bit about your story.
Well, Maini, that's a long story. I started out in college as a geography major and international development. This was in 1975, so I'm dating myself. But I found myself as a junior on an airplane to Kathmandu, Nepal for a semester of school. And it was really about developing countries. What I realized when I was there, that education was really the key to growing and developing underdeveloped countries. Well, that was in juxtaposition to really what my career journey was going to be. So when I got home, I had a little conflict of values. And I ended up taking a left-hand turn into theater. I don't know how it happened, it just did. And I immersed myself in theater. And I found a group of like-minded souls, people that were highly educated, but they were taking a different path. And what I learned as a street performer and performing artist, saw lessons along the way. Like I was always trying to make my audience like me. And I soon realized that that didn't work. I had to learn how to become interesting. And that meant becoming interested in my audience and creating a space that allowed them to have fun along with me. It wasn't about me and how great I was. It was really about creating an experience. So if you go forward 15 years, I had a career transition at Boston University. I was trained as a rehabilitation counselor, helping with people with disabilities get back to work. I got my master's in business. I started to teach corporate training classes around campus. And then I realized I had a skill set. And then I found a job as a top executive, sales executive in a boutique training company that used theater-based methodology to teach leadership communication. So a lesson there is no experience in your life is wasted. And it's never too late to really understand what your sense of purpose is. And my sense of purpose as an executive coach now, as I transition, is to be a catalyst for personal transformation. And that's what I help people do.
That's amazing. So as you're talking about purpose, and Özlem, by the way, I mean, and sorry for using your Turkish name because you're Özlem to me.
Sure,
But please, everyone, feel free to call her Brooke. We were just on a program with Özlem, a coaching program, and that's when we were just like talking about how to turn things into a gift in your life. And I mean, that was such a great example that you were giving. So next is Özlem. I know that you have an interesting story about how to find a purpose, and that's what you are doing as well. So can you tell a bit about your story?
Sure. Like, first of all, good to see you all and all our audiences. Thanks for being here. And since we talk about world happiness, I cannot say anything about what's going on in the world. So my heart goes out to all the people in the war and everywhere else. So just had to say that. But coming back to Turkish, and I so agree with Rob, nothing goes to waste is definitely what I say all the time too. You always bring something from your previous work or experience, life experience into your life. And then, the purpose can come up at any different time in your life and it can evolve. And what got me into purpose is really my own journey. Starting at the corporate life, I felt like this is strange. This is what work looks like. Like you have to wait until your Fridays to be happy or wait for retirement. That's not even promised. I said, no, I don't want to work like that. And then I started thinking about my purpose. What's my purpose of working here? And at the time, and I'm going to date myself too, Rob, like people were looking at me like, what? You just make so much good money. You're working at a huge, great company. What are you talking about? So I was one of the weird ones, but I just couldn't let that go. So I had to go and find out what I love to do. And it's very much related to bringing your best self to work. So that's probably why I'm here too, because like when you find your purpose, and you can align that with your work, everything changes, right? In my opinion, your life gets so much better. So that became my purpose and love to bring that to individuals, also the organizations. But at the same time, I'm so glad we're having these conversations now so that I don't feel the weirdest one anymore. So that's kind of my story, but thank you. Thank you, Mine.
And Sonia, by the way, Sonia is from our geography too. So that's how we got connected. We were just like, resonating. And so I'm so glad that our roads have crossed. And Sonia, you are also dedicating your life to exploring the ways how people feel happier. And I was like watching your video and how you were just like remember your own story and all these things happening in Europe. And I mean, yes, we are talking about happiness, but like we are going through some hard times. We've been going through some hard times for the last couple of years, but this is like really overwhelming. So can you tell us a bit about your story?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hopefully without crying. Luckily, I have tissues around me coincidentally, but I'll try. So Mina was mentioning, I was born and raised in Serbia. What for many years I used to call Yugoslavia until somebody's like, the country is no longer together. I'm like, really? Like, no. But it was Yugoslavia to me. My family left in 1992 because of the war. And I think, Mina, maybe what you saw recently was I was on a segment, and I work for a company called Question Pro in the more of the employee experience division, but we have an area that's market research. And so we've been doing this research, surveying people in Ukraine, asking them, how are you feeling? Who's helping you the most? What else do you need? Where can people donate? And having that conversation. And to me, one of the things that I say is I tend to know what people there are going through. I can't. I can say that I've been impacted by war, and that's a big part of, who I am and how I choose what to do with my life. But in many ways, I was so lucky. I was lucky that my family had somewhere to go. I was lucky that I lived in Belgrade, that in comparison to many, areas in former Yugoslavia was not impacted as heavily, attacked as much. But one of the things that happened is that my family also left quite suddenly. And we were lucky that my mom's brother lived in the United States and he could take us in. And my parents were in their 40s at the time, and their English was basic at best. And they were these two people that were always larger than life in these phenomenal careers. And I saw this transformation. Even for me, I was, 12 at the time, I was a kid. But you see these people trying to make it work, and you see them trying to make the best, of the situation, but it's hard. And so that, to me, one of the most challenging areas, and this is why, I'm monitoring the war very closely now and seeing the kind of impact that I can have, is that the transition in the professional world. And for them to find their footing. My dad is a civil engineer, and for him it was, a little easier because a lot of it was technical. And my mom, she negotiated. She did import and export of cosmetics, and so much of what she did was in her verbal skills. And so imagine having that taken away. And so as I was, watching them, I went off to university, and my first semester I started out as pre-med. I was going to be a doctor because we had doctors in our family. It was the, beautiful profession, the right thing to do. And I was like, oh, I don't think I'm a stupid person, but I don't really get biology. I faint at the sight of blood, which a big red flag. And I remember the phone call I had made to my parents, after the first semester. And I said, I don't think I can do this. And I thought, oh no, what's coming? And they said, it's okay. Whatever you do, we'll support you. And I thought, oh, how lucky, how lucky am I to have these people in my life that are so supportive. And so I found this area called industrial and organizational psychology. And I was like, what in the world is this? I had never heard of it. And imagine I had moved, my parents were not educated in the United States. They didn't, in Serbia, I went, you were an engineer or a lawyer, like there were different career paths, but I know psychology, like, what's that? But I thought, goodness, if I firsthand experience how big of an impact a change in a career can have on somebody as a person, as a family, I want to make a difference there. Like that's where my heart belongs. And that's where I started to figure out, what that looks like. And I did that a lot through both personal and professional development, because I went out and I got my PhD after university. And I thought, the sky's the limit. And one day I'm going to be CEO of a large organization. I'm going to make all these, all this difference. And then I got into the professional world and I was like, wait a minute. I don't want it. I realized the trade-offs, and I said, but they still want to make an impact. But what started happening is that my personal and professional life the decisions between them started to blur quite a bit, because I decided I really wanted to get back to Europe. That's where my heart was. And so after much negotiation with the company that I currently worked with, and the CEO being this beautiful soul, that he is, he said, Sonia, go. There's a spot in London. You'll figure it out. I'm sure you'll do great. And so I got there and I'm like, yes, I'm back in Europe. This is great. It was a lateral move, but I was thrilled. Well, and then I fell in love with an Argentine. So, talk about personal and professional colliding. And I'm actually currently in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I've been here for 6.5 years. And so the reason why I tell all of that story is because I started out my career path. What I believed in was this like very linear and predefined path. And I found out that happiness is anything but it needs courage. It needs people who support you. If you have examples in your life, that makes you so much more brave and so much more adventurous to really maybe go and entertain something that you never realized you wanted, you never thought was an option. And so that's something like all of that personal stuff that I just shared, I took into my professional world to try to give people that courage, to open their eyes, to say, dream big and think that maybe in 5 years, you have no idea what you're going to be doing. And not knowing is the most beautiful thing, because there are possibilities out there that don't even know exist. So, go take your next step, but explore, be adventurous, and, create life into this beautiful thing. So sorry, that was maybe a little bit longer of a personal story, but it impacts so much of what I do on day-to-day basis, and so much of what I try to bring into my work and into the organization that I work in.
Yeah, I love it. And I love this like not knowing part of life, because like otherwise it would be this is so much fun. I mean, this is what's like making life fun, because you never know. I mean, not even the next second. So I really love this. So Rob, you're an author of a book
Yes.
named Leading from Your Best Self. Yeah, exactly. And you are just like, showing them, you're giving the executives a roadmap of like how to embrace that idea. But what do we mean by the best self? What is our best self? What do you mean by
So again, this is such a big, wide question, but I'll start with a quote, and it's one from Picasso, and it guides me. He said, the meaning of life is to discover our gifts, and the purpose of life is to give them away or put them to the best and highest use.
Wow.
So this has, and I work in the area of executive presence, and I leverage my background in theater and performing arts. So presence, when you think about it, has both an internal and an external component. Internal is understanding your values, your intrinsic motivators, the things that when they get satisfied, allow you to be in your best self behavior. When they're not satisfied, that's when we get cognitive dissonance, when our shadow behavior comes out and we can't be in our best. The external parts of presence or the impact that we have on the people and the environment around us. And so there has to be a sense of congruence of internal and external. When we really understand what lights us up, and I'm not sure, I think life is about choice. Some could say, oh, I was made to do, I was born to do this. Yes. And for a lot of people, you could do a lot of different things. It's a choice of the impact that you want to have in the world. And so you look back, and I do an exercise called the best self story sharing. And it's when somebody looks back on a time when they really felt most alive, effective, natural, in the flow, when results exceeded expectations. And sometimes it's hard for someone to reach down and go, well, I don't want to talk about myself. But this isn't bragging. This is just knowing when you feel connected and when you're really in that flow. And then someone else reflects back after they've listened to the person. They say, what I found remarkable about you is how I experience you as energetically, physically, vocally, everything. They reflect back how they experience the person. And that's a unique thing. When someone else reflects back to us, we might not even realize how powerful other people are experiencing us in that moment. And then we begin to build that self-awareness of saying, wow, how can I recreate that? How can I do more? How can I practice, develop a daily practice that'll enable me to be in that best self more? So that's a balance of self-awareness and skill building. And so skill building, I use the skills in theater of understanding the messages you send without saying a word. So that means your body language. Now, how do you land messages with impact? That's your vocal cadence. Understanding how to build great relationships based on trust. And how do we trust ourselves once we understand that, when we've done we know that we're capable, that we can step back into moments, trust ourselves that we will be able to, in that moment, connect authentically with others and bring our best efforts forward. And so there's that sense of congruence, both in the activities that we pursue and how we explore ourselves and build that self-awareness.
That's great. And you know what? Once you really feel it, I mean, just like you remember that moment when you were in the flow, once you have that, sense in your body, you never forget it. And whenever you feel that, you just say, yes, I'm in the flow. It only takes one time to just like feel it so that you know that you're in that spot.
Yes, and it's like they talk. I'll use the game of golf because I'm a golfer, and they say, well, sometimes you feel like you're in the flow, but a lot of times you don't feel it, and you have to grind your way through it. But you understand what it is you're working at. You hold open that sense of flow ahead of you, and you say, that's really where I'm going toward, and you feel as though you put the practice in. That's why good meditation. Like I breathe, I have a daily meditation practice. It's active breathing exercises based on Qigong and Tai Chi. And when I practice it, this is the foundation for my day. And when something doesn't go well, it enables me to think about it deeply, to process it and get back into a state of positivity. So having a daily practice is very important to being in our best selves and choosing to be happy. We have to choose to be happy, and then we have to work toward it.
I love it.
And especially now,
choice.
especially now, and I like this. Both the other speakers talked about how difficult it is right now in the world, in the Ukraine, in Europe, and we have to, even in, this is what Viktor Frankl talked about, the great writer from World War II. He said, find the joy in every moment.
Yeah.
It's hard to do. Find the humanity in every moment. That's what's so important to us and what's so needed right now.
Yeah. It was hard reading that book, but like so much meaning in it. So, yeah. So as we're talking about meaning and purpose, Ozam, you've been in this area working with purpose for so long, before it was a trending topic in the world. So how does that resonate? I mean, how does finding your purpose, knowing your purpose resonate with the being at your best self in your life, whether it be at work or just like, in general? I don't really want to, differentiate it like work and life, because I mean, work is part of our life.
Yes. So true. First of all, thank you for the question. And I agree with you. Sometimes they call me to say, we want you to talk about like work and life balance. I said, like, work is part of life. So, and you can change the balance with your choices. Like Rob was saying, sometimes if you just had a baby, of course, your focus is going to be more on your baby. If you're going to start a new business, of course, you're going to spend more time with your business. So it's just we separated that for so long. We did not question it enough. Now we're questioning and seeing that it is part of life, and especially during the pandemic. Of course, everybody had a better sense of it, right? There were children in all the screens, the pets and everything. So we did figure out that it is possible to work with your life. So, and coming back to your question, I'm so much in line with what Rob was saying. I have two businesses, first of all. One is called Your Best Life. So it's really related to what Rob was saying. The other one is Purposeful Business. And everything started with working on myself to find out my journey. So why am I working at a company like IBM? I'm doing like a lot of work with clients, but what's the purpose of doing that? Yeah. And I had to find it for myself, even if nobody was talking about it. And it made me feel a little bit better just to see that my like repetitive task every day means something. I'm helping my clients with the best technology, and then they help their clients with that. So even to say that made such a big shift inside of me. I said, okay, this is what we need. And then I started researching. Of course, I've spent more than 20 years in purpose now. But it's just like in business, what we usually cared about is like the analytical mind, rewarding people who have the highest IQ. But then, thank God, EQ came into place, and I was so happy. I remember the time too. But then we found out through research and science fields, thank God, that it's not the external things that make us happy or fulfilled. I even use fulfillment more than happiness because I see it as a more sustainable form of happiness. And we found that it's the intrinsic things that make us feel more happy at work too. And of course, purpose is one of them. And if you can align your values, your vision, your dreams, your gifts, your passion at work, that makes a huge difference. And I also looked into the companies that in my mind were the best. And what I define the best companies is not like the ones who make the most profit or revenue, but the ones who are financially well, but of course they're also making their people happy. And when I looked at them doing a lot of research all around the world, there was two common denominators for them too. It's just they always had an amazing EQ high leaders, but also they always had a purpose beyond profit. They stand for something. So I realized the organizations and people have to do the same thing. They have to find out who they are, their values, their vision, their passion, and their gifts, what they stand for. And if both sides can do that, and if there is alignment, then the miracles really happen. And thank God people are thinking about these more. And McKinsey says 2/3 of the people started thinking more about their purpose in life during the pandemic. That's why probably we have this big resignation going on in the United States and elsewhere. So we are in the right track is what I'm seeing. And that makes me
Finally.
happy. Yeah, yeah.
Finally.
Yes.
We needed something as big as a pandemic to come to that awareness level.
I know. I wish we did not, but that's what happens with the human beings. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So
We
I don't know
need
if
to
I
hit
answered
the
your
ground.
question, but
Yeah.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
yeah, I mean, Sanya, I would like to ask you, like, so after the pandemic, yes, this was happening. I mean, we had like people like yourself, Rob, Ozan, who have been like working in this field for so long. But I mean, the idea, the embracing it at the company level, like globally, it really happened over the last, let's say, couple of years. So how do you see the interest of companies? Because you're working at a company who's interested in finding the ideas, how the trends in the companies, how people are just like feeling, if they're being fulfilled. So how do you see that interest for the companies? Are they like more interested to find it out lately? How would you define that trend?
They are, and it's like we were saying, sometimes like global tragedy like a pandemic maybe brings out good behavior. I think what's interesting is for organizations, it was important for a really long time. I would say if you ask somebody, they would say, yes, this is really important to us. Were they making it a priority? No. Why? Because it was hard. Because it would take extra work. It's maybe something they weren't sure how to approach. And so it was important, but we'll get to it, we'll make it a priority, etc. And then all of a sudden everything changed, not only when the pandemic hit, but now in the recent months, now it's been over 6 months, probably, time's flying, when people are leaving. And so what's happening is organizations can't avoid but realize that it's hitting their bottom line and that it's impacting business. And forever, you would hear companies say, our employees are our biggest assets. We understand that employee experience impacts customer experience. We understand all of that. But, the verbal communication of an understanding of impact and actions that organizations were taking were very lightly correlated at best. And so today we're seeing that that's not possible anymore, because if you're going to have social media is by far new, but I think it's getting farther and farther reaching. So if something happens inside your organization, if you don't have a good culture, if you don't treat people well, anybody that's considering joining your organization will find that out. There's no way to keep that a secret anymore. There's just not. And so when people are looking to both keep their people, when organizations are looking to keep their people and attract new talent, it's become much more of a business necessity than only a moral obligation that it's always been. And so we are seeing, and what's actually happening is more people are being impacted, right? So a lot of times, like employee experience, satisfaction, happiness, it's an HR thing, it's a people department thing, it's a culture department thing. And now you're having all these leaders saying, I don't have people to do the work, I can't hit my goals. Like all of a sudden it's become like a very strong problem for everyone. And we were just laughing, like we had a management meeting earlier this week, and our CEO was saying, like, you know, our employee experience business, like we're getting a lot more referrals, people are opening doors. And they said yes, because a lot of times before, if we had asked like, hey, would you mind introducing us? Maybe people didn't have time, it wasn't urgent, but today it's impacting them a lot more. So they're saying, yes, like you have something that can maybe help us solve this problem, like I'll introduce you to anyone and I hope it works. And so it's a shame that it took this, you know, kind of pandemic, this kind of tragedy to have that tipping point. To me, what I'm more like now, I'm like, okay, great, we're here. But kind of looking at, you know, putting my problem solver hat on and looking in the future is like, how do we make sure this stays? How do we make sure that, you know, these things that we're learning now, that, you know, and like markets ebb and flow, like laws of supply and demand, it will tip at some point. But how do we make sure that we retain what we learned today? And I think that's like we're not there yet. And I don't know when that's going to happen. But my bigger concern, my bigger area of focus is now to make this human data, like understanding around like how feelings tied to business, how satisfaction ties to performance, like how do we find a way to make it more second nature for all of the executives to understand it across the board, not just the ones that are in HR? Because if we're able to take this window of opportunity and do it now, then it's more likely it'll become, it's like a habit, right? We're used to seeing these numbers. Where are these numbers? We need to seize that moment now. We're not sure how big that window is. So I think the more proactive and active we can be about it now, the more of a guarantee we can build that, like, oh, please, let's never go back to the conversations we were having, you know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. Let's really make it the new trend, the new norm around, you know, how do we look at our people data and our business data and the way they impact each other. So yes, to answer your question, positive trends.
Yeah, and we need the leaders, because like as companies are changing, as you said, I mean, to keep this change sustainable, we need those purposeful leaders that care about this. So Rob, coming back to you, when we were talking about leaders, so what is the role of a leader in just like creating that thriving culture that's just like, you know, sustainably caring about their people?
So that's a great question. And if we think about, can answer it in a couple of different ways. Let's start here. If you've ever been to a meeting and you wanted to say something, but you held your tongue and you didn't say it for fear of what, retribution, retaliation, or something maybe even worse. And when I ask that question in the programs that I teach, almost everyone raises their hand that they've done that. That's essentially dysfunctional. And to create an environment of psychological safety where people feel as though, and this comes from the leader. This is the thing, is the leader doesn't have to have all the answers. That is the old command and control style of leadership, where you have this, you have to have this veneer of invincibility, that you have to have all the answers, you have to be perfect, and you can't show any sign of weakness. That's what changes people, you know, when they can be really natural with their friends, but then all of a sudden they turn into something else when they go into work. That at least is beginning to change a bit. But still, people have to become aware of the impact that they have, and that they can have impact on that environment where people feel safe to contribute, where they feel valued, and so little things like endorsements. Catch someone doing something well. Just congratulate them. thank them for something very specific, and don't make a big deal about it, but just do it. All these little things of connection matter. And I help people, I help leaders, when they move a transition from one role to another, from an individual contributor to a people leader, from moving into the C-suite, is especially that people leader role, is to shift their mindset, role, and identity to that of a developer of talent. So if you go back to the quote of Picasso, the meaning of life is to discover your gifts. The purpose of life is to put them to the best and highest use. Then as a developer of talent, my job is to recognize the gifts and talents and develop them, to help people grow, not to just tell them, get the results, but to be with them shoulder to shoulder to develop them so that they develop their own strategic capabilities, their own ability to think through problems. And that's when people feel really satisfied, really fulfilled. That's what Osman was saying, that sense of fulfillment, that sense of people love to see progress against goals. They love when you can provide growth opportunities for them.
Yeah.
They're not going to leave because they feel valued, connected, and growing. It's an incredible amount of what people are looking for within their work environment, because you don't separate life from work. It's all an integrated experience.
Exactly. And you're so right. Just giving them the space so that they can act to be at their, because the leaders, the control, the command and control, what we had traditionally is not giving them a space to breathe, to space to show their talent, to space to show their unique selves. So I love it, and I'm so glad that now we are moving towards this trend, really, that we are now, I think, the next generation even now, because the leaders today, they're trying to adapt this new way of leading. But I think with the next generation, I think we will even see this happening even in a better way, because it's going to be so natural.
So I'm not sure if anyone else is seeing this, but as we've been virtual and apart for so long, there are opportunities to connect. This conversation is a connected conversation virtually.
Exactly.
We can still, we can feel, we can emote, we can recognize, we can show up. But a lot of people, when they're coming back into the work environment now, back into being in person, almost have to relearn some of those best self behaviors.
True. That's so true. So Özlem, coming back to you, how do we then create this culture, the company culture, that's allowing, what Rob was saying, giving the space for the leaders, for the employees to be at their best selves, to lead at their best selves? How do we create that culture, the learning, the growth culture?
Yeah. So first of all, I agree with everything Sanya and Rob said. So thank you for all of your contributions. I love everything I heard, and I'm so much with you. I work with companies who are trying to be purposeful or who are already in that direction. And what I see as the common denominator, again, is the leader, the top leader, the CEO, the founder, more than the people, culture people, because I don't think it could be only an HR issue. It has to come from the very top.
Sure.
I've never seen any great example where it was siloed and you take care of purpose and culture and the rest of us will do our jobs. It just doesn't work that way. So I think what I have seen, I work and interview lots of people around the world who have been those purposeful leaders. Always starts with them, how they see people. They don't look at them as numbers. They really have the utmost respect for them. And especially Bob Chapman, who is one of my favorite CEOs, he always says, look at everybody like it's somebody's precious child, right? So although we see the productivity works better when people are purposeful, people work more and they just are more effective. I want them to do it because of the right reasons, not because purpose brings more profit, not because it makes people more productive. You just want, if you care about people, That's what I always say. If you really, genuinely, authentically care about people, you will care about your people who work with you too. So that naturally gives you the psychological safety, because like I also even do the litmus test with them. I say, like, would you want your daughter or son to work in this environment, right? Because you want the best for them. If you don't want them to work at where you work, or you're the leader, there's something wrong in there. So I think, like Rob was also saying, like, if we get rid of the ego, the command control, I have to know it all, and just use collective intelligence and wisdom of the people you already have in the company, then you will be starting a great culture anyways. You don't have to have all the answers. And Mine, you and I will do an event in Turkey soon, hopefully. But one of the best leaders in Turkey, for example, Haluk, has started a whole self-managed company. And he says that, why do I need to give all the decisions? I ask my people. They're innovative, they are creative, they come up with so many ideas that I couldn't have come up on my own. So I'm a big believer in flat organizations too. So all of that brings you, like, almost forms the culture so that innovation, productivity, effectiveness works. But I think the starting point is really genuinely caring about your people. I think that's where it all starts. Otherwise, it's not authentic. People can't tell. There's so much purpose washing going out there. I'm glad that it became such an important topic, but I'm also sad that people only use it for marketing reasons, to have a great target or like nice tagline. And that's not about that. You just have to live it every day. And the ones that have it stick the most is because of the commitment of the C-level people. They just remind people that this is the purpose. And when people tie, just like my own experience at work, when you tie what you do every day to a bigger purpose of the company, it makes a huge difference. You're not only crunching numbers, you're in accounting, you're helping a company do something good for people and the planet. It makes a huge difference when you make that tie. And that can only happen if everybody understands what the purpose is, and it's not only a framed wonderful sentence on the hallways. That doesn't work. It really doesn't. So there's so much more I can say. So I'll just end it here. But thank you.
No, that's really that's so true. I mean, and authenticity, genuinity. I think they even gain more importance today because people can tell. I mean, if you're not like walking the talk, they're not buying it anymore. So I mean, it should be the way. And the thing is, I think like in the near future, we won't be even talking about this. This is going to be a given in the company. So now we are now transitioning to this, that we are just like talking so that we are reinforcing the idea, but it's going to come naturally. That's how I believe. So Sonia, and how do we make sure, because we have like multinational, okay, it's easier to do it at a smaller company, to touch the employees, to understand if they're feeling happy, fulfilled. But how can we make sure that we are scaling this? How can you make it possible so that even larger companies can scale this effort?
Yeah, I think that it's a great question because there's so much like in the research that we do that is, you have your organizational culture, and then you have people who live in different cultures, and the way they express themselves is different. The way they experience work could be different. Their expectations could be different. I think we're globalizing more and more as a humanity. So maybe there's, less similarities, but I was even recently just doing a study, and it was US, UK, and Germany. We just sampled a few countries. And at one point I was looking at different comparisons, and when we looked, and this wasn't a question pro, this was like a market research study. So it was a sample of 1,000 people across different organizations. And when we asked, the employee net promoter score, like how likely to recommend your organization, like a relationship with manager, like we asked a lot of different concepts, like nearly consistently, US was scoring the highest, then it was UK, and then it was Germany. You know, I'm thinking, you know, is it the employee experience? Is it the transparency? Is it how people express themselves? But even for organizations, and then we did an internal question pro study and used that a little bit as a benchmark to know, you know, what are some societal differences? Like, how much is it, you know, how the maybe like Americans tend to be more positive about things and tend to, you know, give higher feedback? Is it that US based companies are spending more time on some of these topics and maybe Europe is trending a little bit behind? Like, there's so much to unpack there. But a lot of, and even actually just before this meeting, I was presenting our employee experience results at Question Pro for our own employees and actions that we were going to take. And in doing that, like, we're a 300-person organization. So to your question, it's like, hey, it's easier in smaller organizations. It gets more complicated in larger ones. But even at the organization our size, we were very thoughtful to look at the information at a very basic level, like regionally, but then also by departments, and see where were our greatest strengths, where our biggest opportunities. And then we were talking about different initiatives to think about what are some things that we would celebrate as an action across the organization, based on the survey results. So what did people tell us? And then also checking that with the leadership team to say, hey, if we have this idea, will it resonate in Turkey? Will it resonate in Germany? Will it resonate in France? Like, are there any nuances that we need to be aware about as we roll this out? Should it be tweaked a little bit? What does that look like? And then also empowering all the regional heads with their data to say, when you look at your own results, you'll also know best what to do in your region because you know your people even better. Like, we have the data here, you have those qualitative interactions. But a big part of that, and I think a little bit of what both Rob and Brooke were talking about, that I kind of wanted to jump in, but I'm like, wait, I'm not the one who asked the question. But, you know, it's even around that accountability, around the buy-in. Like, to me, one of the things that, and I don't hear this often, but I have heard it, and I feel like for every time I hear it, there are a number of people that don't say it, is, well, it's not my role to do X. Like, I'm a leader, I have these revenue goals, I have the da-da-da. But no, and I literally heard this, and I will not say who said it at all, of course, but I heard somebody like tell me that in their organization, the challenge is that the leaders are saying, this is not a part of my job description. And this happened last year. I'm like, it's 2021. Like, no, like, nobody would think that.
So Sonia, let me jump in. Let me jump
please.
in.
I wanted to ask before. What do you do?
You're using the word leader, and they say a leader. Leader is not a position. It's a verb. It's an action.
Exactly.
It's an act of leadership. And I always think leadership falls upon the most self-aware person in the room. So that person sees something that needs to happen. They step in and into that leadership moment, and they do what needs to be done. So it's almost the terminology is incorrect. It's
well, what about the managers? That maybe that's better, because so this is funny. I like to use the word leader because I think if I address somebody as that, it's like almost like hopefully a soft influence for who they are and who they could be and who they should be. But to your
totally
point,
agree.
in this case, maybe
Totally
manager
agree.
is the better word.
I use leader rather than manager, but I think when they say, as a leader, I am, well, then as a leader, what, in other words, lead them to understand what that role really means. And it's imbued with action.
Exactly.
It's imbued with insight. It's imbued with reflection.
Yeah. And have you seen organizations, or what would be your advice in organizations where somebody who's in a management position is maybe not a leader, is not doing those developmental things, is not an active champion? Because I think, to me, every person in the organization has an ability to shape the culture. It doesn't matter if you don't manage people. It doesn't matter where the way you show up to work every day, you're making an impact. But by nature, usually those individuals who manage teams, their influence tends to be even bigger because of their kind of role, because they can actively shape somebody's career path, because they can actively have coaching. It's what's interesting to me is I don't think everybody takes it as seriously or assigns as much time in their
Or responsible.
maybe day or
Because
week.
it's kind of like being a parent. I mean, just like you're taking the responsibility of those people's growth. And I think that's a huge responsibility because
Huge.
maybe you're going to shape the rest of their life, the rest of their career, or just like, screw it up. Just like, there's so much responsibility.
This is where the behaviors, established behaviors, the espoused behaviors, or are they the behaviors in action? Is it, this is, and it's up to leaders in the organization to hold other leaders in the organization accountable for certain behaviors. And it's not about fixing anyone. It's about developing the self-awareness of understanding, hey, if we're going to get here and we're aligned to these goals, we need to bring people with us. In order to bring people with us and get the maximum, they bring their best selves, their best thoughts and ideas forward. We need to create an environment that allows that to happen. And so to hold leaders accountable takes courage, and it takes an entire, that's what culture really is about.
So Rob, let me then ask another question on top of that. So you're an executive coach. So what would be like for the leaders, the new beginners, or the ones that want to transform themselves, what would be some like quick tips that you can share?
So-
like where they can, like how and where can they start?
So this is an interesting question. It's a chicken and egg, right? So I coach some folks that we start from the inside out and really start to look at self-awareness and build it from that way. Sometimes I'll work very tactically and say, okay, you need to increase your impact when you step into the boardroom. So let's work on that. So say, before you do that, you need to develop a strong vocal cadence. It's one of the most powerful ways an individual can increase their executive presence. So if I'm working with them on their breath, develop a vocal cadence means you breathe in, you speak out, and you land your messages with impact. I have 3 words: breathe, connect with the person, land your message. Well, that's also the 3 words that I use for my meditation practice. I take a breath in, I breathe, I connect with my internal sense, a balance, could be intention. I breathe out and I land. So then I will lead them back into more of that practice and then develop them from the inside out. So I go inside out, outside in. I'll meet them where they are and then develop them. When they start to see the impact, then the door is open and we can begin to explore how they can become something more. And I really ask the question, what are you in the process of becoming? And help them on that growth journey.
I love it. And so, Ozam, I know that you are looking for those leaders, and I know that you're just like, writing their story. So can you just like, give us a couple of names, those people who have been leading from their best selves and allowing their team members also to work at their best selves?
I'll actually just continue the conversation by giving a name. Like Gary Rich, for example, he's the CEO of WD-40, and he's one of my most favorite leaders ever. And he has a book, actually, and I'm gonna maybe not say it exactly the same way he explains in his book, but just on the topic of what we're talking about, he does keep all the managers and the leaders in the company accountable for what the people are getting out of their jobs. So he says something like, I'm helping all of them, all the people, the employees, to get an A in their performance appraisal. If they don't get an A, I go back to their managers. Okay, what went wrong there? Instead of going to the employee. So he talks about this in with the students and the teachers in the colleges and everything, but he does the same thing in the company too. Okay, if something is not working, if people are not happy at work, they go to their managers, not to them. So that's another wonderful way to look at it, I think. And I think managers don't look at the work as that. And that's why there's so much conversation about performance reviews too, of course. But Gary Rich is definitely one of them. And I was lucky enough to be in their office. I was able to talk to him several times. And you can even feel feel it in their office. Like, this guy doesn't have a corner office. He just has a all transparent office where you can see the inside, and it only says Gary. There's no titles, nothing. And everybody can go and walk into his room and ask him anything. And they call everybody a tribe, and they really act like a tribe. And everybody can come up with several ideas. And I'm doing engagement surveys for a lot of companies. Theirs is always at 97, 98%. And again, 98% of the people who work there says, I'm so proud to work for WD-40. That shows you a lot. And even like in their physical environment, you feel it. So that's one of them. But I do interviews with them. I have Tom Viz from Vizzy Mortgage Company from Netherlands. They again formed this beautiful company, just amazing leaders for sure, and deserving the title of the leaders, as we were talking about, right? It's not just a leader, but a real leader that you want to follow. That's part of what I say as a leader. You are not a leader because of your title. People willingly want to follow you. That makes you a good leader. Then Haluk Canhur is one great example in Turkey. He's the founder of Latro, and he's really created a teal company. And by teal, I mean they're self-managed, it's all purpose oriented, and they have only 2 principles that everybody has to abide by. There's no HR, nothing, no titles. So he's definitely an amazing one. And that's why their revenues are growing, the innovation is growing. And then there's Bob Chapman, of course, from Barry Waymiller. He's unbelievable. His book, Everybody Matters, makes you cry. It's a business book, but I think I got so emotional about how he became that leader and how he's acting in his business like that. He's just an amazing example. There's so many examples that I can think of, but if anybody wants to look at them, there's no sales pitch, nothing. Purposeful Life Channel has a playlist about these kind of leaders, because I want to highlight them to make sure that people do understand this is so possible and everybody can do it. Just like Rob was saying, it's a choice of the kind of leader you want to be. So yeah,
that's true.
Many that I just like, those were the few that I could think of right away. But there's a lot all around the world, because some people just look up the United States or UK or Western world. There's so much more, like in India, in China, in all the countries that you can't even think of. There's amazing examples, and you can do it in any environment. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
By the way, there was a comment about the titles. I like that comment about titles. They might affect the happiness of others. So I think in the near future, I think we'll be seeing like different titles. Like, I think, Rob, was it you like talking about the titles and like how they are just like, fitting but with the purpose? I think we were just like talking about something like that, like how they are just like getting transformed. And okay, so, and Sonia, just for my last question to you, like, what would you recommend the companies to ask their employees to assess their level of happiness or fulfillment?
So to me, when I was looking at that question, probably even more than like, what do you ask to assess the level is what impacts it, right? So you can ask like, how fulfilled do you feel? How happy are you? How satisfied? How long do you think you're going to stay? But why? Right? Like, to me, like, it's so much more interesting to know the why. And like we were saying before, everything is a blend today. So one of the things that we're seeing in our research when we create the surveys and we look at those relationships is we're entering a lot of well-being questions, right? Around the balance, around, do I feel like I can still unplug? Do I feel like I can enjoy my family and friends and things outside of work? How are my relationships? How are my relationships at work? Do I connect well with others? Inclusion, belonging, like, do I feel like I experience people of different cultures? How satisfied I am with that? Do I feel like I can show up as my whole self? How important is that to me? So I can go on and on, but there are all these like beautiful ways to get to know people inside the organization and then compare that to how happy are you that you're here? How long do you think you're going to stay? If there was something that pulled you away, what could that be? So you can calibrate the two, because just understanding how somebody is doing at a point in time or how that fluctuates, it's really hard to know the impact. It's really hard to know, what's driving that. And I think we're seeing those changes happen, and we're seeing, so many demographic differences in, maybe not even by necessarily age and gender and race, but what stage of life am I in? How meaningful is my career to me at this point? What am I looking to get out of it? Anyways, I rattled off a lot of things because it's so complicated and because it's so individual for a lot of different people. That's, I think, one of the key things that we saw in research is that, especially during the pandemic, is that it's really hard to generalize a lot of the things and what the drivers of that fulfillment are, what the drivers of happiness are, but just how incredibly important it is for us to ask all the different questions and then be able to create these different personas and say, when we care about all the people in our organization, what do they care about, and how many different variations, and how can we as an organization show up to all of them to say, we understand you, and this is what we're doing to make you happier. This is what we're doing to make you more fulfilled.
Thank you. I mean, I really love it. And I think we will be seeing more of those questions being asked, because I think now it is a time where we are all trying to understand what makes us happy. So at the end, it's just like that's what we are trying to explore. Okay, so thank you so much. I really loved our conversation. I feel like we could just go on forever. I know that each one of us is so passionate about this topic. So thanks for joining me today, and thanks for sharing your experience and your valuable thoughts with our audience as well. So next we have a session with meditation. So it's now time for meditation, and by the way, we have a comment, a really insightful conversation, panelists. So as a final remark to you, thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Minette.
Pleasure
Thank
to
you
be
so much. Thank you.
Thank everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have our dear Tolu. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Can't
Can you
wait
hear
for
me
the
okay?
meditation time. Yes, we can
Yeah,
hear you well.
I think it's, watching and being part of today's last 3 hours and seeing, I'm really honored and grateful to be here today to do this, because I really feel to have this space and to spread some light from within, with all of us. It's so needed right now with everything going on, and in a way, we
That's
talk about the future of happiness at work. The future of happiness is right now, planting that seed right now, and how we can open up and let that ripple, right? So I'm so grateful. That was a
Thank
lovely
you.
talk, Mina. I just really enjoyed all of that. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, me too. I mean, I was just being carried away with the
I
conversation.
know. Yeah, I know. It's such beautiful insights on each panelist. So great value there for the audience today. And I hope the meditation will bring, not wrap, but bring it all together so that we can bring our best self in our thoughts and in our actions and our behaviors, and carry it through right now in this present moment, with everything
Exactly.
that's going on right now. I think it's so needed.
True.
So yeah.
Yeah, as Rob was saying, it's like an inside out process. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
There are times we need to go in to get clarity and that awareness, and it's so necessary. And, when we talked about in the workshop with Lorraine, having to unlearn, sometimes we need to go back to the basics as well and see what's within at our core. And the best way to do that is through meditation as well. This is
Exactly.
something that I've been doing now for the past 3 years, and waking up. And I think many people it's not just a trend anymore. I think people are connecting to the value in taking this time and space to really connect. And this is if you feel that for yourself, what more can we ask for, right? If we can all just make that little time just to get that
Just for
clarity,
ourselves.
get
That's what I
grounded.
love about meditating. It's the only time that I am with myself, but like with my like
Yeah.
totally, because like we have all these distractions in our lives today.
Yeah,
So that is the
absolutely.
only time when I am only with myself and nothing
Yeah,
else.
beautiful. Yeah. And the time of the day that you choose to do this as well, you can, it doesn't only have to be in the morning. It can be in the middle of the day. It can be in the evening. I mean, I have days where, I wake up and I need to, I feel it in my body that I need to align, and, maybe I didn't sleep well, or there's still worries from the past, and to be able to realign, to start this day fresh with how I affirm, the intention for the day and how I want to be and turn up. So, it is something when you feel you need to align, and it can be any time. And it doesn't have to be so long, I mean, today I'm probably going to go through about a 10 to 12-minute meditation. And this practice, you can, after experiencing it today, I would recommend that, you sort of use this to align and get your focus on your heart. Because, this is going to make me feel teary, because I just feel, imagine if we could all right now tap into that space, all of us on this planet, what
On this
difference
planet,
we
yeah.
could make. What a difference we could make, right? So this is why I'm absolutely honored to be here to share some words, to bring more light and happiness.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. I'm leaving the stage to you.
All right.
Time
Thank
for
you, Nina.
meditation.
All right. Enjoy. Okay. So as I said, having this space now, I'm truly honored to present and do this meditation with you all. If I look back at the last few hours, we talked about connecting to that compassion and unlearning, getting to our core and being our best selves, right? And we've heard that through the panelists just now as well. The change that it can bring. And as I said just now with Mina, if we could all tap into that and expand that being in ourselves, because it's there, believe me, it's there. So I'm just going to begin with a few things before I walk through my meditation with you on your posture. So position yourself into a comfortable position. So either on a chair, on a cushion. I'm actually sat on a cushion, on a chair. And let's just talk about your spine for the moment. So if you keep your spine straight, erect, and if you imagine your spine is your highway to your brain, to your energy, and to your awareness. So sit like a mountain, tall, completely immobile, serene, yet grounded. Yeah? And now I'd like you to keep your hands open, your palms up, open, and you can rest them on your lap, just like that, allowing yourself to
I cannot hear you. You can hear me? Okay. Okay, I can hear you. No, no. I can't. I just lost. Lorraine, can you hear Tolu? Because I can't hear her. Can't hear her. Okay, we can't hear you, Tolu. Can you try talking again? Maybe now I can hear you. No, I can't hear you. Why not? Okay, so Lorraine can hear me, but we can't hear you. Let's see. You're not on mute. Okay, let's just try. Can you try disconnecting your earphones? I can't hear you. Let's try again. Okay, so if you can. Okay, let's try again. Now we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. So sorry for that. I'm not sure what happened. My Wi-Fi was completely down, and then anyway, I'm here now. You can continue, and I'm glad it was just the beginning.
Okay, the stage is back with you.
Thank you. Okay, so sorry for that. So I hope you're still seated comfortably with your spine erect. And as I was saying, if you could keep your palms upright, open, and you can rest them on your lap or on your chair or just beside you, whatever feels comfortable, okay? The idea is to be open to this new experience that you're going to go through for the next 10 to 15 minutes, allowing yourself to open up. And if you remember that video, if you saw it earlier with the flower, exactly that, opening up, the blossoming, okay? And I'd invite you now to close your eyes. This is one of our strongest senses, and maximum energy is being consumed through our eyesight. So I'd like you to imagine you're actually looking inwards. I want you to connect inwards and not allow anything in front of you to distract you. Okay? Now we're going to take a few deep breaths. Inhale and slowly exhale. Allow your body to be in sync with your wholeness. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Feel any tension melting away as you gradually relax deeper and deeper with each breath. And feel yourself drifting into a state of deep relaxation and slowing down. Now expand your awareness beyond your breath to include your entire body and let all your muscles relax. And with this relaxed state, let us focus today to recharge your battery and connect within. Imagine a phone that is running very low on memory. It has many apps that are open at the same time. Similarly, on our devices, when we have many tabs open, causing it to slow down and get very slow in performance. And we normally would close them down, sliding our finger upwards from bottom to top. If you just imagine you're on your phone, closing each app to consume and gain more energy. One by one, you close all those apps. Similarly, we also have similar apps, labels, roles that we're carrying all the time. I invite you now to shift your focus to your inner self and imagine all those apps, labels, roles constantly running in your memory, like your name, your gender, your age, your qualification, your relationship status, all those roles, draining, not allowing us to truly connect to our basic nature within. And with every inhalation, I invite you to say in your head, I have a name, but I'm not just my name. And exhale. You can also slide your finger from bottom to top and close or disable this app. And again, say to yourself, I have this gender, but I'm not just that. And exhale. And continue going through in your mind all the different labels, apps, roles that you can be carrying that weigh us down in opening up for our growth and connecting us to our happiness. Just allow this moment to recharge. I'm not just my age. And close this app. I'm not just this religion. And close this app. I'm not just this profession. And close this app. There are many apps and labels such as your qualities and weaknesses that we are choosing, and close them one by one. Allow them to free you and to connect you within, to feel light and open back to our basic nature. And every time you close each app, feel a deep sense of relaxation, peace, and calmness in our body. Take a few more seconds to close everything that's coming to your mind, even those apps of conflicts, fears, worries, insecurities, or even apps of what will happen tomorrow. Even those apps of unresolved emotions that we carry day to day. Just close them down. Any app that's coming to your mind right now. And as you close them, feel a deep relaxation and peace. And just be with this restful body and mind right now. All those labels and apps limiting us from opening up and growing and being our best self. Draining your power. Close them now through choice, so you can operate from a state of being of greater abundance through choice. Let us now place our hand on our heart. With everything going on right now, we can all tap into this space and bring in and connect to that compassion and love through this part of our body. And I want you to imagine now that with each breath that is flowing through your heart, and as you exhale, you feel it leaving through this area, flowing through, and with each exhale, flowing through. I want you to imagine, just like a balloon, it's expanding with each inhale. And with each exhale, we are sending out that love to the universe and to everyone that we come in contact with. And each inhale, you're creating more and more space, expanding. And as you exhale, that love and compassion is flowing through to everyone around you, at work, in your homes, in your communities, in your cities, and out towards our country. And can we extend it globally? All the love that is flowing through this area. With each inhale, creating space. And with each exhale, you're sending it out. Just be here for this moment with your hand on your heart, recharging your battery, expanding your being with more love, compassion, and care. Each and every one can make a difference. And allow this love and warmth to be a part of your being in all that you do and with all you interact with, so that we can spread this light and love and compassion, this basic nature that we all have inside. And when you are ready, gently come back to the space, opening your eyes, and begin to connect with your surroundings, give yourself a hug. And feel this hug from me. And if you made any discoveries in this session, I invite you to take note of those thoughts, sensations, and feelings, and observe what was coming up for you, and allow yourself to come back to this space which is yours anytime, to recharge and reconnect and bring more light to all of us on this planet. Thank you. Oh, I don't hear you, Mina.
I was on mute, sorry.
Okay.
Wow, I feel so rejuvenated, but at the same time so calm, and just like feel my heart is filled with happiness and just like being that. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. It was my honor to have this space today and to share a few words to help others feel calm and connected. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us today.
Of course.
Okay, so we have commands. Yeah.
Oh, great. Keep shining, everyone. Keep that light shining.
So, are you staying for the laughter yoga, or
I will. Yeah, you can stay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, let me have Lorraine as well. Hello. And so we have Ipek from our Happitude tribe.
Hello.
And she already started laughing.
Love it.
Hi, Ipek. Great meeting you today. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Excited to be here. I hope you are all ready to laugh with me.
Yes.
We can't wait to laugh.
Okay. So let me just explain what laughter yoga is a little bit. So we will do the laughter exercises together. So thank you for joining me today to do my laughter practice. Well, I am the member of the happiest community in the world called Laughter Yoga. I am a master trainer of Turkey and also a happiness coach as well. So today we will all experience laughter in a very different way. Why is it a very different way? Because laughter yoga is the unique concept that anyone can laugh without any reason, without relying on comics, joy, and comedy. So this is the way that we will laugh. And it's very simple. All the source we need is our breath and laughing. We will combine them to laughter. So it's easy. It will start with eye contact. So it's a group exercise. Here, 4 of us, a group, and we will keep eye contact and add some childlike playfulness in it. And then hope that it will turn to real laughter. We hope that. Yes. It has been founded by an Indian medical doctor called Dr. Madan Kataria. He's my guru. And we all know that with external sources, it's not easy to be happy. And here I'm very lucky that Talia melted all this tension and stress out of our bodies. So it's easy.
Good timing.
Yeah, thank you for that.
My pleasure.
Well, the inner happiness is called joy. I cannot control outside my world, and I can control my inner world. So laughter helps us to control our inner world. It's the key to increase our emotional resilience. It's the key to release stress and anxiety. It's the key to increase our feel good hormones like endorphin, dopamine, serotonin. We will experience it soon. Yes, I'm looking forward to it. So, how we will do that? Well, when we combine laughter exercises with yoga breathing, we will take more oxygen to the body, and this will help us feel more energetic and more healthy. So, we have a saying in laughter yoga that fake it until you will make it. Okay, we will fake it. Even you cannot fake it, it's okay. It doesn't matter because science proves that our body cannot differentiate real laughter and fake laughter. So even you will laugh fake, it's okay. Our brain
I
believes
think
that
with this group, it's not going to be fake. We're not.
it will be real. That's great. Okay, then. So yeah, so we will get the benefits of fake laughter. We will do that. And when you engage in this action, fake laughter, you may say, we will look a little bit weird. It's okay. So we will use some warming up exercises. We will do this like clapping. Yes. And we will add a rhythm to it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, 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 ho, ho, ha. Excellent. Yes, we are lucky that all the people in the world laugh in the same language. Like, all laugh in the same language is easy. When you copy my movements, it will be easy for you. What will be the benefits? Laughter changes our mood in minutes, so it will change the mood. But I'm sure that everyone is in good mood after Teddy's meditation. Yes. And it will increase endorphins, as I said before. So we will feel more happier, better. And when you feel good, you do everything very well. And it will help your immune system increase because it will release all the stress and anxiety throughout your body. And life is ups and downs. So it's not easy to find something to laugh at in this world, today's world. So with laughter, we disconnect our laughter from reasons of life. We don't laugh because we are happy. We feel happy because we laugh. That's our saying. I do laughter yoga exercises in corporates. I mostly work with corporates at workplaces. That helps us to performance better, and laughter connects people. So we will try now a little bit exercises. We just learned ho ho ha ha ha, ho ho ha ha ha. It's okay, and we need some childlike playfulness to keep us just on the moment. It's very easy. We will do this. Very good. Very good. Yay! Very good. Very good. Yay! Yes. And we will need some breathing techniques. We will combine laughter with breathing. In yoga, in pranayama, it's very important to exhale longer than inhaling. So we can exhale like, or we can exhale by talking. We can exhale by singing, la 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 la, or we can exhale by laughing. It's the easiest way. So we will try this one now. Yes, you hold your hands upward, showing upward. We inhale from the nose. Hold your breath. Hold it, hold it, hold it, and exhale from the mouth. Excellent. Yes, once more. Hold it, hold it, hold it, and exhale. Now let's try to combine breath and laughter. Okay, we will inhale, hold it for 3 times, and exhale with laughter. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Inhale. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Okay, very good. Let's try once more. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Very good, very good. Yay! Very good, very good. Yay! Okay, well, we have been sitting on the chairs all day long, so let's awaken our body with laughter movements. So I raise my shoulders up and turn them back like this, and add some laughter sounds. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, 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 ha, 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 ha. Ho, 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 ha, ha, ha. Okay, let's activate the energy points on left arm by tapping. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, 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 ha, ha, ha. Ho, 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 ha, ha, Excellent. Now the right arm. Okay. Ho, 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 ha, ha, ha. Ho, 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 ha, ha, ha. Ho, 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 ha, ha, ha. And here we have Timus, our immune system. Yes, we just tap here. Same. Ho, ho, ha, 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 ha. Ho, 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 ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Very good, very good. Yay! Very good, very good. Yay! So we are in the happiness way. And so we have 2 glasses. You imagine you are holding 2 glasses. In one, let's have happiness, happiness juice, and love. So we will mix happiness and love, and then drink with laughter. Here I do it like this. Yes, we sound like this. A. Yeah, let's try once more. We can now sound ha. 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 Very good, very good. Yay! Very good, very good. Yay! Yes, just take a breath in. Hold it, hold it, hold it, and exhale. Once more. Hold it, hold it. Yeah, to be happy, sometimes we need to get rid of our thinking way. We need to change our thinking way. So there is an exercise to change our thinking way. We will wash our brain, okay? We will unzip our brain like this. A. Take out our brain and wash with laughter. Replace it. Ha, ha. Very good. Yay! Very good. Very good. Yay! Okay. Now, after getting rid of our bad thoughts, we can do the greeting laughter. It will be good here in a good manner. So we connect our hands like namaste. We breathe in. Come closer to the camera and laugh. Breathe in and come closer and laugh. Very good. Very good. Yay! Very good. Very good. Yay! And in the difficult times, we have difficult emotions also. It's hard to cope with them. Each finger represents one emotion. Here is the worry. Here is the fear. Here is the anger, sadness, and lack of self-esteem. So we will massage our fingers with laughter and get rid of these difficult emotions. Okay? So we do this. Now we get rid of first worry. Ha. 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 Now get rid of fear with he sound. He. Now let's try ho for anger. Ho. 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 And sadness. Let's try who. Who. And self-esteem, lack of self-esteem. Let's try it with ha. Ha. And replace positive feelings like hope with laughter. Joy. Love. Self-esteem. Very good. Very good. Yay! Very good. Very good. Yay!
That's my favorite.
Very good.
Yay! So let's try this one. When you feel angry, you can try this exercise. It helps you to get rid of that. So I'll push the air with my hands out, saying ho, ho, and then ha, ha. Ho, 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 ha, ha. Ho, 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 ha, ha, ha. Ho, 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 ha, ha. Ho, 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 ha, ho, 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 ha, ho, Very good. Very good. Yay! Very good. Very good. Yay! Well, if we need the people around us to be happy, we need to give appreciation. So let's try appreciation laughter. You raise your hand, right hand. Put it on your left shoulder. So we appreciate ourselves first. Oh! If you have anyone with you, then yes, Mina has.
I have my son
Your
because
hand on,
they're like
on his shoulder, yes. Oh, and hug ourselves.
Yes.
Very good, very good. Yay! Very good, very good. Yay! Well, let's spread happiness and love from heart with laughter. This is the happiness exercise from heart to laughter, like this. Ha. 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 Let's do once more. Ha. 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 Very good, very good. Yay! Very good, very good. Yay! Well, as a laughter yoga community, we have a mission. Our mission is to spread happiness, health, and world peace through laughter to the world. So each May, the first Sunday of May, we celebrate World Laughter Day also, and we laugh for world peace and happiness and for health. So I invite everyone here, first of all, 4 of us, just to laugh for 1 minute, just 1 minute for world peace, without any exercises. Okay. I see the hour here, clock. I will start the laughter, and it's over. When it's over, I will say, very good, yeah. Okay. So we just breathe in and exhale with laughter. Very good. Yay! Oh, excellent, amazing. Is everyone okay?
Yes.
Good.
Good.
So we will just inhale. We will close our eyes. Just inhale. Take a deep breath and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Once more. Inhale and exhale. Yes. Let's wish all the world, to the east, to the west, to the north, and to the south, happiness, peace, and laughter in laughter language. Okay. So I will show you, and we will do it together like this. Ho, ho. Ha, ha. Ho, ho. Ha, ha. And we will laugh for 3 times for happiness, health, and world peace. Like. Okay, we do it now all together. I will count 1 to 3, and then we will start. 1, 2, 3. Ho, 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 ho. Ha, ha, ha. Ho, 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 ho. Ha, ha, ha. good.
Very
Yay!
good.
Very good. Very good.
Very good.
Yay! Well, it's our choice to laugh and spread positivity and happiness. So, laughter keeps your mind positive, and to deal the difficulties of life, we need our mind to be positive. So, I just wish all of you that let me laughter and love with you. Thank you for
so
joining
much.
me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay!
Hey! And
Aw,
yes, I would be
lovely.
happy if you share your experience here with laughter.
By the way, I took some screen recordings. I will check later and share it with you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So
This is it. It's contagious, isn't it?
yes.
Exactly. Once you
It's a
start it, you
virus
can't stop
also.
yourself.
A good
Like
virus.
anything. Yeah.
Thank you, Ipe.
Thank
This was really
you.
wonderful. I mean, we really needed this during this hard time, so we really needed this. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, so ladies, it's time to wrap up. It was really great.
Wow.
What do you think? What are your final remarks for today?
Wow. Definitely my cheeks are
Connecting
hurting.
life connecting with life.
Yes. And to the
Beautiful.
heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Mina?
And you know, it's really contagious. Happiness, I mean, good vibes. And as you were saying, if only we could, you know, had an impact on one person today, it's going to create a huge difference.
Absolutely. It's a
Yeah.
ripple. And it starts
Like-
with those thoughts, you know,
Exactly.
and letting that ripple. So hopefully we managed to do that today.
And remember giving yourself permission to
Yes.
be happier.
Yes.
Exactly. Happiness is a choice. We
It
said happiness, and we're like, I was like remembering, you know, I'm alive, connecting with life. What we
Yes.
that thing we have at Happitude, like
Yeah.
we were like connecting with lives, and I mean, like touching lives and touching it with happiness. I think that's what's going to create a difference on this
Absolutely.
planet.
Yeah. And talking about it in workplaces, you know, the fact that you can drop those titles, that's a big deal, you know, because we talk about those labels and those apps and the weight that brings us, you know, to carry each moment, each day. So if we can let go of that and just connect to the basic stuff, the heart, and making happiness a choice.
Yeah. And concentrating on our being, less doing and more being.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so it's
it's been
time to
amazing.
say yes. We can't just have enough of these talks. So we should definitely do it again.
Definitely. Well, there'll be one later in the year for sure, right? The Happitude one.
Yeah.
And we'll see what else we can bring together. Thank you so much,
Definitely.
ladies.
Thank you,
And
everyone.
lovely ladies and everyone here today.
And
And
happy-
Lewis for hosting.
Happy International Happiness Day.
Happiness Day.
Yay! Yay!
All right.
Have a
Bye.
lovely
Take care,
afternoon.
everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.